Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Marine Execution Officer. Roger was executed at the beginning. Chapter 81. Earl Hong's punch with all his strength was blocked by Luo Feng with an index finger with incomparable power. Bang! The powerful air current that followed made a sound, and the sea behind Luo Feng was shocked by a huge wave and pushed back. However, Luo Feng still stepped on Bigmo, which was frozen into ice, and his body remained motionless. Flowing on the fingers red and black hockey. Berndi Waldo launched Marine's large-scale artillery fire, aimed at Luo Feng, and launched the multiplier fruit. The fired shells are magnified 100 times. Fly to Luo Feng. Earl Red quickly dodged away. The cannonball comes in an instant. Luo Feng faced the cannonball in the air, holding his left hand. The rusty fruit ability is activated, and the shells turn into rusty yellow powder and dissipate. Turning over his right hand, the execution knife appeared in his hand. With flames on the blade, it cuts out by slashing at Berndi Waldo. With the flame blade light carrying the oppressive power of conquerors, Waldo has nowhere to escape. With a panicked expression, he fired a multiplier shell, trying to resist it. Boom! The shell split directly into two halves and exploded. The blade slashed through Waldo and cut through Waldo's body. Waldo screamed and was wrapped in flames. Execution. Luo Feng's eyes were indifferent. The jumping Red Earl was shocked. Waldo, dead. The frozen Bigmom was kicked out by Luo Feng, and the execution knife was about to be cut with a knife. Bigmom, which was frozen into ice, poured ice into the soul and escaped. God! There was horror in Bigmom's voice, and his voice screamed sharply. Bigmom, it's so good for me to be executed like this. Luo Feng held the execution knife and smiled indifferently. In the face of Luo Feng, who is indifferent, Bigmom can only fight to the death. Napoleon. The big knife flew back to Bigmom's hand. Prometheus, Zeus. The sun and thunderclouds appear. Bigmom continues to infuse soul into the ground and ocean of the harbor. Boom. Bigmom is fully capable, and conqueror's hockey and armed colors cover the whole body. The flames and thunderstorms left and right, the ocean rolled up huge waves, and the eyes and mouth appeared on it. The ground spread from the feet of Bigmom to a large part of the square and surged, like a fat human face, with eyes and mouths appearing. Mom! These strange creatures infused with souls called out. All forces are extremely cautious, one is an extremely powerful god, and the other is a monster with the ability of soul fruit. Bigmom and the gods let go of the war. Whether Marineford can still exist is another question. The Marines who had never seen the ability of Bigmom, the pirates, and the Revolutionary Army all watched nervously. Bigmom is in it, and the Queen of the Nations has once again increased. Interesting. Luo Feng held the execution knife and watched with interest at Bigmom's full fire. The fruit of the soul is really interesting. Kill him. Bigmom screamed frantically, and pointed Luo Feng with a big knife. The waves and the ground rolled towards Luo Feng. Then, holding a big knife, with a powerful force, ready to cut it away. Luo Feng grabbed his left hand and the huge wave instantly formed an ice wall, unable to move. The right hand pressed against the surging ground, and the ground was immediately leveled. Mom! I can't move, so heavy and heavy. The big face on the ground screamed in horror. The lighter lion fruit ability is activated, and the weight has increased by more than 100 times. The ground infused with soul has stayed a lot. Bigmom has already slashed over with the prestige. Luo Feng's execution knife remained on the ground and did not pick it up. Hockey was wrapped around his right hand, and he grabbed it against the blade. Bang! Hockey's collision spread out, creating a stream of air. Luo Feng's hand firmly grasped Napoleon's knife and looked at Bigmom's surprised expression. Takes a full blow empty-handed. Half-Life Doflamingo and Kata Curry, who were struck by lightning, stood up, too late to panic. Mom, Joker, let's go together. Kata coolly saw Bigmom colliding with Luo Feng behind Bigmom, and did not realize that Luo Feng had actually grabbed the broadsword. Bigmom used all his strength to withdraw the broadsword. The two fists once again formed a big punch covered by hockey, and wanted to go up to help. Doflamingo also used the awakened string fruit ability, and the 5-line spike rushed in front of him in black light. Luo Feng is holding Napoleon's broadsword in his hand, and his power is activated. The awakening Buddha's fruit ability was activated, and the hand holding the big sword turned into gold. The white shock wave aperture envelops Bigmom. Bigmom's pupils shrank instantly. The sun and thunderclouds simultaneously sent out flames and thunder and lightning to attack Luo Feng in midair. Overwhelming, full of power. Luo Feng is still falling by flames and lightning. Mara fruit and thunder fruit are not afraid of such elemental attacks at all. The shock wave in the hand grabbing the knife is launched. A dazzling white glow appeared in the halo surrounding Bigmom. Thunder and flames impact inside. When Doflamingo and Katakuri attacked, they were blown away by the shockwave's outer periphery, and their internal organs were shocked, blood spurted from their mouths, and they fell to the ground upside down. Bigmom is completely invisible in the shock wave. Until the shock wave ended, Luo Feng was still holding fragments of Napoleon's broadsword in his hand. A big pit has been formed in the area. The sun and thunderclouds have disappeared without a trace. Bigmom knelt there, holding the broken hilt of the big knife in both hands, raised his head and his eyes turned white, his body was smoked, and his head was smashed by lightning and flames. This is thunder and fire. Luo Feng flung the fragments easily, turned around and picked up the execution knife. Bigmom's eyes condensed and recovered, and he woke up. The blood kept spilling from the mouth. The look was so terrified that he almost didn't hold it. His hands were pressed on the ground. Fully capable. The huge face on the ground surfaced again, lifting Bigmom up. The huge waves on the sea are rolling, and a bigger wave rises behind the icy, with eyes and mouths on it. Mom, take me to escape. Bigmom's incomparable fear. Leap from the ground, want to jump on the huge waves. A knife cut across. The huge wave split directly into two sides and then collapsed. The soul fruit ability was directly cut off by Luo Feng. The knife light that followed was Bigmom slashing into the air. There is nowhere to escape. Bigmom desperately reversed his body shape, but his left leg was still hit. The incidental lightning power exploded, paralyzing the whole body and falling from the air. Accept the execution honestly. Luo Feng took the execution knife and walked to Bigmom. Bigmom's eyes were full of despair and fear. Mom. Katakuri fell on the ground in the distance and couldn't get up, yelling in panic. Doflamingo even gasped, not daring to look. Bigmom is going to be killed, no one can stop it. Real or fake, everyone at Shichibukai was shocked. Bigmom, one of the 4 emperors, was defeated and was about to be killed. The crowd watched with dull faces as Luo Feng raised the execution knife. Do you have anything else to say? Luo Feng looked at Bigmom indifferently, and asked lightly. Bigmom's body was shattered. After fighting Luo Feng, his whole body suffered shock waves, flames, freezing, stab wounds, and lightning attacks. There is still thunder and lightning on the body that paralyzes mobility. Can't escape it. The chill came from the bottom of my heart completely. The face full of burnt black is distorted, and the eyes are desperate. Tianjin pirates. Deity. We have no grievances and no enmity with you, why are we chasing you? Bigmom screamed in horror. Luo Feng has no expression on his face, there is no need to listen to such words. The execution knife in his hand waved with a chill. The knife slashed across his neck. Bigmom. Beheaded and executed. The body was frozen, and no blood spurted out at all. Katakuri looked at the scene in front of her, shaking her body, her mouth opened wide but she couldn't say anything, her eyes were filled with disbelief. No one knows the power of Bigmom better than Katakuri. How could someone like Mom, such as the 988 4 emperors, be beheaded? Doflamingo crawled back in horror, desperate for everything. What is the power of the alliance with Bigmom? What man-made demon fruit power took advantage of the chaos to defeat Marine and kill Whitebeard? Encountered the celestial pirates. These are not people at all. This is the god. The audience was silent again. The icy breath of death spread, and the Marines panicked. This is the celestial pirates. Bigmom was beheaded. Charlotte Linlin. Whitebeard's eyes were shocked. Sighing, the two people on the Rock's ship, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, died under the hands of the celestial pirates. The red-haired Shanks and the crowd looked at Luo Feng, the god of heaven, and they were shocked and worried. These powerful men have strengths far above those of the four emperors and easily kill Bigmom, so what are they going to do later? On the side of the fortress, 5 elders and Kong were surrounded by a group of armored soldiers, and everyone's faces were shocked. The monster like Bigmom was beheaded without the strength to fight back. It's terrible. Luo Feng, the god of heaven, and the pirates of the god of heaven. The gods. There are 5 other gods, each of them at least surpasses Admirals' combat power. This force is too strong. Today, I want to keep them. The 5 elders revealed dangerous eyes, nodded to each other, and continued. Punishing Fire Fist Ace, let the Whitebeard pirates chaos. The Revolutionary Army made an all-out effort, kill if you can kill, and drive away if you can't kill, and gather strength to encircle and suppress the heavenly pirates. Even if we make a move, we don't hesitate to do it. The 5 elders have made a decision. The celestial pirates cannot stay. Kong said nothing, his face heavy. After today, there may be no Marineford. Bigmom, one of the 4 emperors has fallen again. Garp lowered his arms around his arms, his eyes were extremely solemn. Marshal Sengoku and others are worried, who is the next goal of the celestial pirates to kill? The balance of the position of the New World 4 emperors was completely broken. I am afraid that it will not be peaceful again. The Marines below are even more shocking. One of the 4 emperors, Bigmom, was beaten all over his body, then beheaded and killed. Marine has long collided with Bigmom in New World and knows the horror of Bigmom. The beheading of a monster like Bigmom actually appeared in front of Marine. Celestial, this is the leader of the celestial pirate group. 7 warlords of the sea, Hawkeye, Hancock and others had cold sweat on their faces. The Emperor of Kun coming to New World was beheaded without the strength to fight back. God, how strong is it? Hawkeye Mahawk looked at Luo Feng's figure with great shock. Hancock opened his eyes wide and covered his mouth. The members of the Celestial Pirates group were really amazing. Celestial dragons, the 4 emperors of the pirates, none of them have soft hands. It's amazing, Bigmom was directly beheaded. The Shemale King and Luffy around Jinbei were shocked by the Straw Hat crew. Luffy saw the battle between Luo Feng and Bigmom. He also opened his mouth and sweated on his head. The rear admiral that flies to me is so strong. 4 emperors Bigmom actually died. Sabo, the person who sent the news to New World. Monkey D. Dragon marveled at Luo Feng's invincible strength. Although shocked, his head was very clear. He turned his head and said to the stunned Sabo. Yes, Dragon. Sabo reacted and took out the phone worm. The live broadcast of Sabayati Archipelago. Pirates, nobles, people, etc. are all mixed together. Events that break through imagination have never stopped. From the appearance of the powerful core of Bigmom to the shot of the god Luo Feng. With the shaking strength, the shot is devastating. Shocked the people watching the broadcast. The gods have completely broken the rules of the world. Multi-fruit ability. Doesn't it mean that you will die if you eat 2 different devil fruits? Huge golden Buddha statue. This is Marshal Sengoku's ability. Flame, Fire Fist Ace's Mera fruit ability. That freezing ability. Is it snow fruit or frozen fruit? It's terrible. Impossible. The multi-fruit ability is crazy enough. Why are there 2 kinds of the same fruit ability? Some people screamed in horror while holding their heads, some were dumbfounded. Is he really a god? It's impossible for humans to do it. The trembling reporters, the notes in their hands have never stopped. The next scene even made everyone hold their breath, unable to speak. The leader of the celestial pirates, the celestial god Luo Feng raised his sword and fell. Bigmom, one of the 4 emperors, was beheaded. The audience was as silent as Marineford, only the sound of the waves and the bursting of bubbles came. After tens of seconds, the audience shouted, "Unbelievable, 4 emperors Bigmom was beheaded." The reporters moved quickly in shock. The scene is in a mess. Among them, there are supernovas who are hidden in them and come back to watch the war. After the power of the god Luo Feng shocked people's hearts. The supernovae all smiled. Kid laughed even louder. 2 of the 4 emperors are missing. The sea is about to riot. This is an opportunity. Marineford. Luo Feng executed BIGMOM. His eyes looked at the horrified Doflamingo and Katakuri. Doflamingo and Katakuri looked at Luo Feng's murderous eyes. With fear in his heart, he stood up immediately and ran away frantically outside Marineford. Hepatobiliary. Seeing the 2 fleeing figures, Luo Feng turned around and smiled. Did not chase. In panic, Doflamingo and Katakuri were about to cross the square, mobilizing their abilities to cross the sea. You guys can't escape. A black-robed figure stood in front of the 2 with a chill, and said in a hoarse voice. Snow God. The 2 were taken aback. Fear of the god Luo Feng, he gritted his teeth and continued to rush over. Each hand used a powerful move. Holy Fierce Bullet. God kills. Doflamingo's abilities are fully activated, and 16 line guns composed of lines popped up on the ground, covering Hawkeye and attacking the snow god. Nuo Tuan chanted. In front of Katakuri's body, a sharp-horned waxy ball appeared, wrapping armament Hawkeye, and quickly pressed towards the snow god. The 2 used powerful moves almost at the same time. Then it will fulfill you. Under the black robe, the snow god stretched out his right hand, a cold air surged in his hand, and grabbed the 2 of them in the air. A piece of snowflake condensed between the 2, and then exploded. Both of them instantly froze into huge blocks of ice with their skills. Shui Shen walked over and knocked on the ice cube, and the 2 people in the ice cube shattered piece by piece. Don Quixote. Doflamingo, the king-like joker of the underground world. The deputy captain of the BIGMOM pirate regiment, Charlotte. Katakuri. In this way, he died under the hands of Shui Shen, 1 move. The strong cold air drifted in the square, like the coming of winter. The stunned crowd shuddered. Red Earl and Bullet were even more horrified. Sure enough, they were the gods of the celestial pirates. The figure retreated involuntarily. Luo Feng held the execution knife, instead of looking for the 2 of Earl Red immediately, but soared into the air and flew into the air, watching Blackbeard teach and Shiryu of Rain, who did not try to escape with Earl Red and others. Blackbeard teach felt the gaze of Luo Feng, the god of heaven, and the coldness came, and his expression was extremely flustered. The gods are staring at me. A cold sweat broke out on Marshal D. Teach's face, and he couldn't help taking a step back. The breath of the gods is terrible. Such a strong player can't compete at all, and the BIGMOM pirate group can only do 2 or 3 moves under his hands. The Revolutionary Army, pirates, marine and other forces also saw the sight of the god Luo Feng. Shichibukai, Black Who Teach. Everyone was amazed. After killing BIGMOM, they actually stared at 7 warlords of the sea. Luo Feng flew gently to the ground, and walked step by step towards Blackbeard Teach not far away. Blackbeard Teach was shocked and ran to Whitebeard hurriedly, screaming in panic. Daddy, Daddy, save me, he wants to kill me. Whitebeard's eyes revealed that he looked at Blackbeard Teach coldly and ignored it. Father, I'm your son. Are you watching your son die in front of you? Father. Blackbeard Teach scrambled towards Whitebeard, but was stopped by Marco and others. Teach, you are the only one who is not worthy of being my son. The sin of murdering a partner is unforgivable. When Whitebeard Newgate heard this, his eyes were angry. Kong Yun cut a pillar to the ground, and said angrily. Daddy. Blackbeard Teach backed away in a panic. Whitebeard wouldn't help him at all. How to do? Then he ran to the marine camp and kept looking back at Luo Feng, who was still walking by. Frightened and staggered even more. The crowd looked at Blackbeard, with an inexplicable meaning in their eyes. A 7 warlords of the sea was shocked directly in front of the gods. Marshal Sengoku, that is your reward for the captain of the celestial pirates. Do you world government and marine let them slaughter here? Blackbeard Teach opened his eyes wide and yelled. No, it's still broadcasting here. Sengoku looked ugly, and there were reporters from all over the world. They also killed celestial dragons. Marine, 5 elders, are you just watching? Blackbeard yelled aloud, hideous. Marine was quiet, sweating his forehead. Yes, we Marine, facing the pirates, facing the murderer who slaughtered celestial dragons. The Marine soldiers on the square were shocked and started talking. Marshal Sengoku and others looked ugly. It's too late to cut off the broadcast, Marine has to do it anyway. Otherwise, Marine's prestige and justice behind him will be lost. Don't worry about other people. Execute Fire Fist Ace first. Let go and deal with the gods with all your strength. 5 elders' orders came. Sengoku gritted his teeth and glanced at the Fire Fist Ace on the execution table. Then shouted, "Marine, fight, target God." The Marines were terrified that the gods were powerful, and gritted their teeth in response to, "Yes." At this moment, a figure carrying a big sword walked in front of Luo Feng. The world's first swordsman, 7 warlords of the sea, Hawkeye Mahawk. "You are a swordsman with swords." Hawkeye Mahawk pulled out the black knife from his back. Yi said with extremely solemn eyes to Luo Feng. "Are you going to stop me?" Luo Feng held the execution knife and said slowly, "No, I just want to try how big the gap is with the gods." Hawkeye Mahawk's sharp eyes are full of fighting spirit, and his blood boiled for a long time since he became the world's #1 swordsman. "This is a god. Fight against me, you may die." Luo Feng smiled, and thrust his torture knife upside down on the ground. "I don't regret it though I die." Mahawk's attitude is very firm and his eyes are bright. Luo Feng nodded. Hawkeye Mahawk is really a guy who likes to challenge the strong. He turned his head and picked up a small blade of grass that was still intact by the messy harbor, and said lightly to Mahawk, "I don't have any smaller knife, just use it." Hawkeye Mahawk's pupils flickered, and then he held knives in both hands and began to charge. Luo Feng looked at Mahawk indifferently. The red-haired Shanks in the distance hugged his face and cursed. "Is that guy Mahawk stupid? I was extremely worried about this friend. Let's get ready, boss." Everyone at Red Hair Pirates is helpless, and they all know Mahawk, Hawkeye. Shanks gripped the hilt of the knife tightly around his waist, and everyone started walking forward. Marine, the Revolutionary Army and other forces did not expect that Mahawk, the eagle-eyed Mahawk who went his own way, came forward alone and confronted the god Luo Feng. They looked at with expectant eyes. Can the world's #1 swordsman pose a threat to the god Luo Feng? Then it was shocking. The god Luo Feng holds a blade of grass in his hand. Use a blade of grass against the supreme sharp knife, black knife. Knight. Hawkeye Mahawk feels that he is not valued by the gods. But still do his best. After the animal power, he rushed towards Luo Feng with knives in both hands. Luo Feng Hawkeye entangled the grass in his hand, and cut it off as he faced Mahawk's black sword knight. He Dao Yi and a piece of grass face each other in the air. Bang! Hawkeye's collision emanated. Hawkeye Mahawk's pupils are dilated, and this grass is stronger than any knife in the hands of the gods. A blade of grass can cut the sun, moon and stars. This is the real swordsman. Luo Feng's faint voice sounded. Hawkeye Mahawk black sword Yi couldn't resist Luo Feng's slash, and the black blade was released. He was wounded from shoulder to chest by bleeding knives and fell to the ground. The light of Luo Feng's sword continued to fly obliquely into the sky, and the clouds in the sky split like a huge crack. The sky seems to be cut apart. Everyone in the audience was shocked. This is a slash with a grass. Luo Feng casually threw the grass on the ground. Lift the execution knife and continued to Blackbeard teach. Mahawk, the eagle eye, who was about to get up while covering his wound, said, "There is no sin on you, I will not kill you." Mahawk was still chanting Luo Feng's words while struggling. A piece of grass can cut the sun, moon and stars. The redhead Shanks and the crowd seemed to be relieved. Stopped. Ben Beckman and the redhead Shanks narrowed their eyes. There is no sin in Luo Feng's sentence. Everyone heard it. Sin. The people killed by the people of the Heavenly God Pirates group seemed to be people with serious sins. Beckman muttered to himself. In the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Dragon, Sabo and other sergeants, cadres all looked at the figure of the god Luo Feng. Shocked and amazed. It's an eye-opener. A single piece of grass can defeat the world's #1 swordsman, Hawkeye Mahawk. Tianjin, is it so powerful already? The 5 elders looked at the crack in the sky, their eyes could not hide the shock in their hearts. After this time, I'm afraid it will be hard to have a chance to gather such power to defeat the Sky God Pirate group. Kong, you go to sit in town in person, the broadcast is still going on, our world government has no way out. The 5 elders ordered. It is meaningless to cut off the broadcast again. Blackbeard's words had already spread. Not far from the side, Blackbeard Teach trembled, but his face was a happy face. The world government and Marine are about to take action. They will definitely take action, otherwise the prestige of the world government and Marine for hundreds of years will fall to the bottom, and they will lose their prestige and dominance in the alliance and in the world. This is absolutely not allowed to happen. Sabayati Archipelago. In the broadcast screen, a crowd of people have not yet recovered from the collapse of the Four Emperors BIGMOM pirate group. A new round of disputes has begun. The words Blackbeard shouted made the world government no longer able to wait and see the changes. Then Mahawk, known as the world's #1 swordsman, challenged the gods and was chopped by a blade of grass. This is the god, this is the real god. What four emperors? There are only real gods in the sea. Some people began to fear the strength of the celestial pirates, and now they gradually worship the celestial pirates and the gods. This is the real powerhouse. Some people in the supernova also have a different feeling towards the celestial pirates. Jewelry even looked at the figure of the god Luo Feng on the screen with reverence, and kept saying, "This is the leader of the gods, God. That's so handsome." Kid and others are also sweating coldly. The conflict between Celestial God and Marine is about to begin. In the Marine on the square, Marshal Sengoku followed the hero garb, Zephyr Instructor, 3 Admiral, and 4 Alternate Admiral in front of Luo Feng. Luo Feng Rear Admiral. Marshal Sengoku's face was extremely solemn. The faces of Zephyr, Sakazuki, and Kizaru are even more unspeakable. Momoshige Gion looked at Luo Feng with a pair of beautiful eyes, shocked with inexplicable meaning. Luo Feng has served as an execution officer at Impel Down for more than a dozen years. "Everyone, thank you for your care." Luo Feng smiled brilliantly. "There is not much thought in my heart, all this is also expected to happen long ago. The old man never thought that you are the leader of the celestial pirates. It was you who killed the Whitebeard too back then," Zephyr said in a low voice. After all, Luo Feng saved his life. "Yes," Luo Feng nodded. "I was very optimistic about you before, but I didn't expect you to be a pirate." Sakazuki clenched his fists in disbelief. "You and us have separate positions." Luo Feng Rear Admiral, what is the purpose of your celestial pirates? Marshal Sengoku couldn't help saying the last sentence aloud. With the strength of the celestial pirate group, it is much stronger than the Rocks, Roger pirate group and so on. If it were one piece, the Heavenly God pirate group would have been completed in the past few years. But they did not. Luo Feng's execution knife plunged into the ground again, and slowly said, "I'm just an execution officer. Everyone, go ahead." Luo Feng's words were slightly meaningful, and his figure began to exude a godlike aura. Marshal Sengoku and the others were taken aback. Execution officer. Everyone looked at each other solemnly. "It's time to do it." Fujitora behind Sengoku waved his staff knife, and the purple halo of 6 paths flew into the sky. After a while, a huge meteorite fell from the sky. Dropped directly onto Luo Feng's head. "Cover the sky." Fujitora stepped out quickly, and the Hawkeye and Gravity Fruit abilities on the staff were fully activated. Gravity Knife. Hell Journey. Accompanied by Fujitora's voice, the stick knife cleaved a purple light. Going to Luo Feng with fruit power. Luo Feng watched the huge meteorite falling from the sky and bursting into flames, and slapped Fujitora's slash in his hand. However, the ability of the Fruit of Gravity is acting on Luo Feng. Nice gravity. Luo Feng has a force in his body that is constantly increasing the body's gravity. The Light Lion Fruit awakened on the body was activated, and the negative effects disappeared completely. The Light Lion Fruit ability was invisible, and it acted on Fujitora's body along the source. Fujitora staggered to the ground and couldn't move, blood spilling from the corners of her mouth. It seems that a big mountain is under pressure. The ground fractured to stay, forming a big hole. The meteorite on his head fell quickly, and Luo Feng grabbed the meteorite with his left hand. When Lion Fruit was launched, the huge meteorite weighing like 1,000 mountains completely lost the power of gravity and falling, and floated high in the sky. Everyone at Marine looked gloomy and horrified. A dazzling light shone from Kizaru's body, and instantly went into the air. The dazzling light made everyone present cover their eyes and squinted. Kizaru Pelusalino is fully capable. A huge beam of light is condensed in the huge bright light. Backquote, Porosalino. None of the people on the scene had seen Kizaru's full abilities in the battle, and their faces were shocked. The beam of light has covered the entire square harbor, and the Marineford Island has also been illuminated. The explosion caused by this blow could blow up half of the island. Luo Feng still has no waves. The thunder and lightning enveloped her body, forming a huge thunder and lightning figure. The hands of Radiant Good for Money also condensed a dazzling white light, and a large amount of lightning gathered together. A huge laser beam comes from the sky at great speed. The white light on the hands of the lightning figure formed a pillar of thunder to face the light. Boom, boom, boom. Loud noises continued to be heard during the collision. The laser beam that Kizaru turned on with all his strength was swallowed by the thunder pillar without any resistance, and hit Kizaru unimpeded all the way. Kizaru was lifted directly by the thunder pillar and fell down. His whole body was scorched with lightning, and he couldn't stand up. Seriously wounded in one blow. Lei Zhu didn't stop there, and hit the huge meteorite floating in the sky straight. The crackling sound sounded. The meteorite was damaged by thunder and lightning, and turned into black smoke with no residue left. Everyone was stunned. What kind of destructive thunder and lightning is this? The thunder and lightning figure dissipated. Luo Feng stood there as usual, muttering to himself. Such a large meteorite covers the sky, it is too dark. Marine fighters, withdraw below the fortress. Sengoku gritted his teeth, turned his head and shouted at a group of Marines who were stunned and shocked in the square. All the talents reacted and retreated to the execution platform. The battle between Marine's strongest fighters and the gods is too terrifying. Every attack has the power to destroy the island. The Whitebeard pirates, Red Hair pirates, Revolutionary Army, 5 elders and armored soldiers all retreated farther. Blackbeard Teach, Red Earl, Bullet, and Shiryu of the Rain all got together. Shocked to see Marine fighting against the gods. Teach talked with Earl Hong and the others with a cold sweat on his face. Huo Fist Ace was handcuffed to the execution platform. The execution time had already passed. Marine faced the existence of the celestial pirates and had no time to proceed. Only Luffy of Shichibukai Jinbei and other people looked at Ace anxiously. Kizaru Admiral was seriously injured. Momoshige Gion came to Sengoku and said quickly. 3 Admiral, 1 has been seriously injured on the shot. Fujitora, who has the strength of Admiral, is still unable to get up on the collapsed ground not far away. Luo Feng stood there in a hurry, standing beside him with a torture knife stuck in the ground. Marineford's midair, God of Fire, God of Thunder, God of Snow, Shinigami, God of Destruction. 5 figures in black robes were in the air, and the black robes swayed in the wind, making it difficult to see their faces. Go on together. Marshal Sengoku. Luo Feng glanced at Fujitora, who was struggling and unable to move, and said aloud. What a joke. Aokiji had a chill out of his body and whizzed to Luo Feng. The right hand extended out of the ice and touched Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng watched indifferently, allowing Aokiji's ice to extend over. Aokiji's eyes were surprised, and the gods didn't hide from him. Ice Age. Aokiji frozen fruit makes an all-out effort. In the face of such a powerful god Luo Feng, no one will slowly test. Shot as the strongest strength. A silent burst of cold air. Marineford Square instantly became a white world. Except for deliberately avoiding Marine who was present, Aokiji burst out his freezing ability with all his strength, trying to freeze Luo Feng. In an instant, Luo Feng became an Iceman wrapped in ice. With this as the center, the entire square was covered with ice, and even the execution platform was almost covered. Aokiji, looking at the ice covered not far below, the major forces sighed in their hearts. Admiral's combat power is so powerful, but for the gods, is it really enough to cause harm? Aokiji's mouth was spitting cold, and the power in his hands did not stop at all, it continued. Because of Luo Feng in the ice cube, he still looked at Aokiji indifferently. The ice continues to intensify and spread. Aokiji Admiral. The green bull stomped heavily on the ground and ran, ramming Luo Feng. Carrying a powerful and violent armament Hawkeye. The ice on the ground and the ground shattered under his feet. Aokiji pulled away. His hands continued to freeze, and he didn't dare to relax at all. Like a giant bull hitting a mountain. Lu Niu rushed into Luo Feng, who was frozen into ice. Bang! A loud noise. The whole island shook. Luo Feng's position collapsed and broke. A piece of the square split directly under the collision, and a part of it moved away. There is a white mist around Luo Feng, and I can't see the scene inside. Everyone present swallowed their throats. The freezing of Aokiji and the impact of the green bull. The deity was attacked frontally. Has it worked? Luo Feng's too invincible posture made everyone panic, and they all hoped that the gods could also be harmed. The ice cubes shattered, causing the white mist to slowly dissipate. Aokiji's eyes widened, watching the scene before him. Luo Feng is still standing there, half of his body still has frost. A hand was placed on Green Bull's body, blocking the attack. Good strength. Do you like playing ice? Luo Feng smiled. Not to mention tens of thousands of physical stamina, the strength of the strong fruits on the body is enough to crush the Green Bull. In addition to physical fitness, all the people present together with Luo Feng's strength alone are quite choking. Luo Feng arrived in the Green Cattle Hand's cold outbreak. In Cattle's stunned green eyes, put a man frozen into a huge ice. Kuzan, this ability can be frozen enough to deal with me. You try me. Luo Feng physique instantly appear in the Kuzan side. Kuzan not react. Luo Feng palms stretched in the past. Two shares is not the same atmosphere, the same extreme cold outbreak of the confrontation. Aokiji Kuzan became an instant glowing red ice. Conqueror's Haki plus the ability. Garp and Sengoku mouth fell open, full of horror. Using this Conqueror's Haki actually used the ability Logia Fruit. Luo Feng crossed two frozen into the ice, breaking through the ground, looking to square not far from Sengoku, who, in his eyes, as if to say, continue on. All forces are dumb, quiet mind seems to be broken cognition. Ice, frozen into the ice. This is the difference between God and man do. God can look forward to take a step back after repelled, they are delusional. Among Marine, Akainu Sakazuki this time has been cheated on Luo Feng. Originally only men, suddenly became the most powerful enemy. Let Sakazuki heart is very uncomfortable. Although Luo Feng God is god of strength. Fear-depressed hearts of the invincible god-like generated. Akainu shot. Great eruption. Akainu Sakazuki turned into lava and flamed. Jumped up and rose into the air. The right hand became a huge giant lava hand. Keep getting bigger and bigger. The heat wave caused water mist to evaporate from the surrounding ice. Drops of lava fell to the ground. Like a huge meteorite in midair, the entire square was swept by heat waves. Hit Luo Feng with a punch. Faced with the momentum of burning everything, coupled with the impact of huge power. Luo Feng took a deep breath and blew away at Akainu's giant fist. The air blowing out carries the ultimate coldness, like a white practice. Sakazuki's burning giant fist was instantly blown out of the flames and coated with a layer of frost. It was much more comfortable when the cold breath came out just now. Luo Feng smiled faintly. Sakazuki was taken aback, the huge lava fist was blown out. His eyes were surprised and fierce, and his entire body was unable to ignite the frost-covered giant fist again, so he would continue to beat Luo Feng. Luo Feng raised his arm, and his fist rose to soar into flames, with even higher scorching heat. Hit Sakazuki with one punch. The powerful flame formed a collision between the fire fist and the lava giant fist. Boom! The flame giant fist rushed forward, and the lava giant fist that was directly extinguished was destroyed. Sakazuki's eyes were fierce, and his body was red. The lava continued to gush out in red light. The whole person is wrapped in Luo Feng's flame giant fist. The flame giant fist in Luo Feng's hand below surged, and Sakazuki braved the red light in the middle of the giant fist. The high temperature of the collision of flames and lava made the surrounding air distorted. The heat waves swept across. Having just experienced the ultimate low temperature, everyone covered in frost seems to have come to the volcano again. After just a few minutes, it's a sweltering summer. The highest combat power of naval headquarters is strong enough to change the climate power. The lava fruit and the Maramara fruit abilities have a subordinate relationship, but the flames of the gods are more powerful than Sakazuki's. The powerful is more than a star, it's crushing. All forces can't help but sigh in shock at this moment. Every time the gods use a kind of ability, they are above common sense. This is the case with freezing, and so is the flame so. Sakazuki's lava was burned to ashes when it touched the flame, and the red light of Sakazuki in the flame disappeared and dimmed continuously. Just a few seconds, the red light disappeared completely in the flame. Luo Feng closed his fist. Akainu Sakazuki's elemental lava body fell to the ground and turned into a human form, with smoke on his body, half-closed eyes, and open mouth, speechless. Less air comes in, more air comes out. Help Sakazuki. Marshal Sengoku saw Sakazuki's appearance and looked shocked. Marine ran over and dragged Sakazuki back. 3 Admiral was defeated. Akainu, Kizaru is seriously injured. Aokiji was frozen into ice cubes. Alternate Admiral, Fujitora, known as the monster-like strength, Green Bull, one is crushed by its own gravity and can't get up on the ground, and the other is frozen into ice like Aokiji. And all of this, in just a few minutes, the god Luo Feng easily defeated the strongest combat power with a single blow. In the minds of all forces, the upper limit of the gods is becoming less and less daring to imagine. God is invincible, can't fight like this anymore. Garp stood up with sullen eyes. 2 fists clenched tightly. Although most of them will be criticized for a while, but we are probably facing the most powerful god. Marshal Sengoku stood up. I have to admit that the god Luo Feng is like a god. Zephyr Instructor is covered with black on his hands. Momoshiki Gion and Cha Dolphin drew their long swords. The faces of several people were extremely solemn, but they did not shrink from fear in their hearts. The remaining marine combat power, we are going to go together. Luo Feng is to show respect to acquaintances. The figure also stood up a bit, and it should have been together long ago. At this time, Luo Feng turned his head slightly to look at the execution platform. The white figure swiftly landed on the execution platform, slashing with a long sword in his hand, and rescued Ace. Everyone at Marine focused on the battle between the god Luo Feng and the highest combat power, and didn't notice until Luo Feng turned his head. Pluton Rayleigh was still wet, and the bloodline at the corner of his mouth was still hanging. I don't know when he sneaked back to Marineford, taking advantage of Marine's time to get distracted. Quickly cut off Seastone and rescued Ace. Oh, I was discovered by you. Pluton Rayleigh's face was still pale with injury. Haha laughed. You fight, fire punch Ace, what are you doing in a daze, run. Ace's hands were no longer bound by the Seastone, and his strength returned to his body. He couldn't help but feel a little unbelievable. It was not until the last run by Rayleigh that he roared. Follow Rayleigh and jump from the side. Ha ha ha, Ace. Luffy and Straw Hat Crew both laughed, and Luffy ran directly to Ace. What? Pluton Rayleigh. Kong was under the torture stage in the depths, and was about to chase after him. Forget it, deal with the celestial pirates first. 5 elders had already walked over. The execution of the son of Roger, the Pirate King, is no longer as serious as the threat posed by the gods. Kong gloomily looked at the 2 figures who were running away quickly. Pluton Rayleigh and Ace bypassed Marine and headed for the Whitebeard pirates. Pluton Rayleigh. Marshal Sengoku gritted his teeth and did not execute Ace. This is the complete failure of Marine's purpose this time. Looking back at Luo Feng looking at Rayleigh with interest. The golden light on the body is prosperous. The figure keeps getting taller and bigger. The form of the great Buddha appears again. Glittering. Marshal Sengoku gathered his strength with both hands at the same time, and hit Luo Feng with both palms. Garp and others behind are also ready for battle. Sengoku of Buddha. Luo Feng's hands turned golden, and his hands turned golden. Partialize the form of the great Buddha. The 2 palms face each other in the air. 2 white translucent shockwave scope circles collide. Glittering white light. Bang bang bang. The noise keeps on. The ground stones within the range are constantly shattering and disappearing. Marshal Sengoku felt Luo Feng's powerful strength head-on, gritted his teeth and constantly broke through the limit to increase his strength. Luo Feng is still unhurried, steady and steady. At this time, Garp and Zephyr appeared on the left and right sides of Luo Feng. Zephyr's 2 black wrists hit Luo Feng's waist with violent power. In Garp's big punch, Conqueror's Haki and Armament Haki were entwined, and he hammered Luo Feng on the head with a punch. Momoshiki Gion and T Dolphin appeared behind them, and they slashed over. Luo Feng turned his head steadily. The speed is too slow. The powerful observation Haki had already foreseen their offense when they left. An invisible barrier appeared behind and to the side. Conquerors and armed colors cover the barrier, turning into red and black. The hand against Sengoku's shock wave was still suppressed steadily. Zephyr hit the barrier with a black fist, and the force of the counter-shock made him fly upside down, his wrist twisted strangely. Momoshiki Gion and T-Dolphin's long swords were cut on the barrier that suddenly appeared, and the weapons shot out and were blocked. The figure also staggered back. At the moment of the attack, Conqueror's on the barrier was suppressed with invisible power. Only Garp Vice Admiral's fist pressed against the barrier. Gritting your teeth. Hawkeye's collision caused ripples to spread out. Luo Feng increased his strength in his hand, and the range of the shock wave instantly overwhelmed Martial Sengoku, and the entire huge golden Buddha was shrouded in it. Boom! White light radiates violently. Sengoku's huge golden body flew upside down and hit the fortress. The fortress was torn apart and a big hole was formed on the wall. Sengoku's entire golden body slammed into it. The barrier of Garp Vice Admiral's collision disappears. A fist that also covered Hawkeye greeted him. 2 punches collided. Boom! Garp's face changed dramatically. Fly upside down in an instant, hit under the execution platform, and the entire execution platform collapsed. The stone and the iron plate of the execution platform pressed Garp underneath. Luo Feng had a chill on his feet, turned around and kicked. T-Dolphin eyes dilated, there is no way to hide. Too fast. Click. Instantly formed ice. Luo Feng stood faintly, looking at Momoshiki Gion with an incredible face in front of him. Slowly raised his leg and walked over. At this time, Martial Sengoku and Garp got up from the rocks. Whitebeard stared at the scene in front of him solemnly. The pain on the body, coupled with the injury of the blade penetrating through the abdomen and Akainu's lava fist, has already caused severe pain in the body, and the feeling of powerlessness is getting stronger and stronger. Father, Ace and Rayleigh quickly circumvented the Whitebeard pirates. Ace, great, Ace, saved. The members of the Whitebeard pirate group, Kazuki Odin, Foil Beasta and others exclaimed happily. Rayleigh, you old guy. Whitebeard Lololo smiled. This time Ace was able to save, thanks to Rayleigh secretly waiting for the opportunity. Otherwise, Ace must be rescued from Marine, and a greater price will be paid. Newgate, the old man only does things from his heart. Rayleigh coughed and wiped the bloodline from the corner of his mouth. How do you feel about taking a punch head on? Whitebeard looked at Rayleigh's injury, which was a serious internal injury. Asked Rayleigh solemnly. Hawkeye is unfathomable, the power that has never been seen before. I can't even stop it. Pluton Rayleigh shook his head. Even if it is not an old physique, at the peak period, I am afraid that I will not be able to resist a blow. Odin, Ace, Marco and others also fell silent. Today's public execution was too shocking. 5 gods appeared in the mysterious celestial pirates, plus the captain Luo Feng. Bigmom was directly destroyed. Doflamingo and others were seriously injured in the aftermath. The mighty strength of the gods, the multi-fruit ability, etc. Father, is he really a god? There was still a cold sweat on Ace's face. Lololo, if God is powerful enough to break common sense, then he is God. Whitebeard laughed and said, a strong person of this level can indeed be called a god. At this time, Luo Feng fought with Martial Sengoku and others, with 1 punch and another with 1 kick. The people of the Whitebeard pirate group have already imprinted Luo Feng's strength in their hearts. If they didn't shoot Martial Sengoku and others casually, they would be shocked. Marco, Odin, take everyone on board. Our goal has been achieved. Whitebeard picked up the clinging Kong Yunchi, and looked at Blackbeard Teach, who was nodding with Earl Red. How could he let go of the guy who killed a companion on the boat? By G. Odin knew Whitebeard's character well, and couldn't help being shocked. Dad is not going to board the ship. This is an order. Whitebeard's eyes were inexplicable, looking at the 2 Marcos. The captains were also stunned. Pluton Rayleigh looked at Whitebeard lowly. He wanted to kill Blackbeard and then died in this Marineford. The strongest man in the world has died of illness, and with his injuries, he has lived soon after returning home. Just like Roger back then. Father, the members of the Whitebeard pirates understood Whitebeard's intentions. Weeping one after another. This is the last order of the captain. Evacuate all. Odin, led safely back to the sea. Whitebeard showed a unique smile, watching Luo Feng's fighting spirit become more and more obvious. Known as the strongest man in the world, how could he just leave and die quietly in bed? You can die in the hands of the gods, and don't be sad. This is a respect for the strong. Rayleigh squinted, tears flickering in the corners of his eyes. Roger was a vigorous person back then. Whitebeard is also a choice vigorous person. Get on board. Marco understood Whitebeard's mind, turned his head and screamed at the crowd with tears in his eyes. Above the square, Luo Feng casually patted the frozen tea dolphin into ice cubes. Step by step, he walked in front of Momoshiki Gion. Luo Feng Rear Admiral. Gion's expression is very uncomfortable, and he admires Marine Rear Admiral very much. It turned out to be the captain of the legendary Celestial Pirate Group. The contrast between identity and strength is too great. The more I thought about it, the more angry I was, and I attacked directly with my fist in his hand. Luo Feng showed a helpless expression and did not intend to do anything to Momoshiki Gion at first. The attack still used by Gion's hands and feet. With the ability of strong fruits, the body's strength is top-notch even without Hawkeye and barriers. Gion also shot with anger, and from a distance, it looked more like acting like a baby. Everyone looked strangely. Luo Feng's finger touched Gion's forehead. If you are tired, go to sleep. Conquerors directly acted. Gion closed his eyes and collapsed to the ground. Marshal Sengoku and Garp, who rushed out again, also breathed a sigh of relief. Luo Feng did not directly slaughter them. Just this time. Reached an agreement with Red Earl to deal with Luo Feng's Blackbeard Teach behind him. Kong Yun fell to the ground, and the tall shadow covered Teach. A wave of ripples spread out. Whitebeard Newgate. Red Earl's eyes constricted. Bullet and Rain, Shiryu and others all took 2 steps back. Whitebeard's power is too terrifying. 0. Kill your partner on my ship, Letterfield, you better not intervene. Whitebeard stared at Blackbeard Teach indifferently, and said with a warning. Earl Hong shrugged and walked away silently. Father. Teach hurriedly backed away in fright. Luo Feng's eyes also looked at Whitebeard. Touching his chin, their grievances are still very clear. But no matter who loses or wins, these rewards do not want to give up. Let Whitebeard beat Blackbeard first. I'll settle the big crime you committed. Whitebeard raised his fist, and the halo of Shockfruit's ability enveloped his arm. Ha ha ha, father, let you see the strongest devil fruit, the power of the dark fruit. Blackbeard was frightened by the power of Whitebeard, and then seemed to react. Dark fruit can absorb devil fruit's attack. Ability has no effect in front of him. Blackbeard seems to have forgotten the appearance of being abused by Luo Feng clone in Impel Down. Dark water. Facing Whitebeard's fist, the black mist in Teach's hand revolved, absorbing Whitebeard's power. Whitebeard squinted, raising his hand and punching again. Teach absorbed Whitebeard's power again and laughed. Father, why don't you understand? This is the fruitful ability that I will get even if I kill my companions. Anger broke out in Whitebeard's eyes, and the powerful conquerors pressed Blackbeard. Father. Blackbeard Teach was completely suppressed, panicked. Humph. Whitebeard let out a cold snort. Kong Yun cut around in his hand, slashing blood on Teach's body with a knife, and grabbed Teach's head directly in his hand. The ability is activated instantly. The air is torn apart. Under the broken air, Blackbeard spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes pale. Battered. Whitebeard held up the cloud in his hand and was about to sever Blackbeard Teach. The black-robed Vulcan in the sky reappeared beside Whitebeard. They can sail away, and Blackbeard's life is left to us. Vulcan pointed to the Whitebeard pirate group that was about to appear one after another. Whitebeard's eyes revealed a tyrannical atmosphere. Look at the god Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled and pointed to the Red Earl, 5 elders and others. You're good to adjust your breath. I will kill them and fight with you with all my strength. Blackbeard Teach was beaten to the ground by Whitebeard. Standing on the spot with Kong Yunchi. The look in Luo Feng's eyes seemed to say, I am waiting. The black-robed Vulcan disappeared in place and returned to midair. Red Earl and Bullet looked at each other and slowly moved back. Luo Feng turned his head and looked at Kong coming out of Marine. Said, someone is waiting, let's go together. Kong's face was sullen, and he stood with Garp and the Golden Buddha Sengoku. This is Marine's peak combat power. The Red Hair Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates all watched solemnly. 3 Marine legendary characters challenge the gods. Can it be repelled, or it is to shake the gods? Go together. Sengoku, Garp. Kong took off the coat he was wearing behind him. Hold your fist, Hawkeye covers it. The momentum is constantly improving. Garp wiped the bloodline at the corner of his mouth, his coat shook off his shoulders, loosening his joints. Martial Sengoku's huge golden body shrank and turned into a human form, and his hands shone with gold, partially transformed into the form of a big Buddha. Luo Feng did not squint, ready to meet. Sengoku disappeared in place first, and almost when Luo Feng raised his palm, his fist reached his palm. Fist touch. Boom. Luo Feng's figure remained unchanged, but the ground behind him was blasted into a trench by the shock wave until a huge wave was raised on the sea. A whistling came from his ear. Garp's big fist covered with conquerors and armed color attacked from Luo Feng's side again. Sengoku changed his hand and punched again. In an instant movement, Luo Feng raised his left and right hands, one big fist blocked Garp. Bang! Boom! The stones on the ground under Luo Feng's feet were directly broken into pieces, and again a large piece of ground on the square was completely broken and separated. The collision of Conqueror's Haki caused many people in the nearby Marine and the Revolutionary Army to faint to the ground. With the other hand blocking Garp, he moved in the other direction. Kong's whip leg touched Luo Feng's palm with the sonic boom and the airflow. Boom! The ground under my feet is completely shattered. The entire large area of the square was dusty and messy. Another punch of Sengoku hit Luo Feng's chest directly, and the shock wave spread behind him again. Set off strong winds and huge waves. Luo Feng's face is a little bit playful. The three of them joined forces and still couldn't shake Luo Feng a little bit. Their attack power is stronger than everyone before. Except for power, Sora, Garp, and Sengoku have even better physical skills. The burst of power, the angle of action, the subtle changes. The peak boxing skills that the system gives you can have fun. Luo Feng smiled slightly, making fists with both hands, Haki covering it. One turned around and threw the three of them away. Garp, Sengoku, and Sora quickly stabilized their figure and rushed up again. 1-on-3 quick fights. Suddenly jumped into the air and fisted, and instantly touched on the execution platform. I arrived in the square again in a flash. Luo Feng's speed is extremely fast. A pair of fists perfectly touches the Garp trio every time. The power control is very subtle, just enough for them to fight quickly within the range that they can bear. Some of the weaker people present could not even catch the four fighting figures. Some people are even more dizzy. Luo Feng played against the three of Garp, each of whom carried violent conquerors and used conquerors' advanced control methods to engage in physical warfare. The roar continued, and the whole Marineford shook and shook under the battle of the Luo Feng Four. The clouds in the sky opened a big hole and revolved, and it seemed that the sky was about to fall down. Is this the image of human flesh fighting? The Marine elite, the Revolutionary Army, and the armored soldiers were completely stunned. It was shocking. Monkey D. Dragon and Sabo looked at them solemnly. This is the strongest physical matchup. Each blow is more powerful than the destructive power of a Logia-capable person. The skills of the four people have reached a very high level, and the power of each punch has erupted on the victim. Don't let it out. Long slowly said, this is not only an eye-opener, it is simply an interpretation of skills by a strong body. Sabo's mouth is open. If he is himself, he will be crushed by the aftermath. Red Earl glanced at each other with Bullet and others, and the shock in his eyes was self-evident. Can't wait. Bullet's eyes were sullen, and the power in his hand secretly gathered the inorganic matter scattered in Marineford. Take advantage of the restraint of strong men such as Marshal Sengoku. Launch a siege. If you want to make a move, you will have a fatal blow. Yuji Shiryu shuddered with cold sweat on his face. Red Earl nodded, taking advantage of the moment he wants to go. But I always feel that the battle between Luo Feng and Garp is more like playing. On the square, Luo Feng appeared in the original standing position. There was a thick smile on his face. Happy. The collision of physical skills gave Luo Feng a refreshing feeling. Although only a little bit of strength was used, the meticulous control was on the strength not to fly the three of them. But the collision of skills made Luo Feng very excited. The three Garp people panted and looked in front of them. The god Luo Feng's fist struck, barely resisting, and then faster and more intense. That's it. Luo Feng's eyes became cold. Under the strong sense of sight, the three of Red Earl sneaked up nearby. Garp, Sengoku, and Kong were taken aback when they heard Luo Feng's words. What a joke. Luo Feng had been beaten for so long, let alone panting, he didn't even get dust on it. The three of them had sharp eyes, gritted their teeth and rushed to Luo Fang again. Luo Fang's eyes changed, and a fist was raised, and the air seemed to waver. The three fists fought against Luo Fang's boxing, and they flew out in an instant. Crash through the fortress and fly to the broken town behind the fortress. What a powerful force! Kong was the first to get up from the ground, with blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. At the beginning, the gods were really just playing with them. Garp and Sengoku even spit out a mouthful of blood, hurting and hurting. Stand up if you are struggling. At this time, some black particles in the town continued to condense on the square. Bullets combined fruit. The three held back the pain and returned to the square. Luo Fang held his arms and looked at the huge armored man who stood up by the square indifferently. The black particles continued to condense to the armored giant. Getting taller. Bullet gritted his teeth and continuously absorbed and reabsorbed. The power of the awakening of the combined fruit ability is completely exploded. Some unprotected ships, etc., all turned into inorganic substances. Earl Hong, who was about to stop Luo Fang and let Bullet fully use his abilities, was taken aback. The god Luo Fang didn't care about it. Are you afraid of the possibility of injury? Is the god really flawless? You guys, let's go together if you want to do it. Luo Fang's tone was very indifferent, and the revealed meaning made the characters present somber and afraid to refute. Go it alone. You may not be able to shake it together. Next to Earl Hong, Shiryu of Rain walked up and drew out the famous knife Thunderstorm. Blackbeard Teach, his entire head filled with bloodline, walked over in the black mist. Luo Fang didn't even look at it. Look around the audience. The breath of the body exudes. Marineford is extremely quiet. Then I will also try the power of God. Unexpected people stood up and took off Monkey D. Dragon. You kid. Garp stared at the dragon with a look of surprise and worry. It can be seen that the gods only kill sinners. Redhead Shanks and Ben Beckman both stand up. He looked eager to try, his eyes full of warfare. They are confident in their own sins. Since the god Luo Fang is interested in killing sinners, challenging Luo Fang at this time is the best opportunity. The gods destroyed Bigmom, singled out the entire marine, and didn't even breathe. There is no dust on the clothes. What to do alone, waiting for the opportunity. Don't even think about it. 7 warlords of the sea. Gecko Moria also stood up. The pirate lady Boa Hancock looked nervously at her beautiful eyes. Injured Hawkeye Mahawk looked at Luo Fang firmly. No one would be an opponent of the gods. The redhead Shanks' words are obvious. Gecko Moria's sins will never escape. This is the last chance. Luo Fang glanced around and looked at Vinsmoke, Judge, who had escaped to the fortress. Judge was shocked before, and stood tremblingly. So many powerhouses said that they would go together. At this time, a killing intent had locked Judge. If he didn't come out, I was afraid that he would be the first to die. Whitebeard still stood in place, leaning on Kong Yunchi, still invincible. Lalalo, I am not interested in siege. Kazuki Odin in a kimono also jumped off the boat and ran over. Yanmo and Tianyu Yu cut and pulled out. Odin. Whitebeard frowned. This guy was still the same as before. But this time is different. The god Luo Fang does not necessarily kill people. By G, it's okay, this is a good opportunity to challenge the gods. Odin ran over with full fighting spirit. The sand crocodile turned into a sandstorm and stepped forward. Among Marines, except for Garp, Marshal Sengoku, and Kong. Aokiji Green Bull broke free from the ice with the help of Zephyr. His body was covered with hoarfrost, and he continued to stand up with Zephyr instructor. Fujitora floated out of the crack in the square, stepping on the stone, clenching the stick and knife in her hand. All naval headquarters combat strength, except Momoshiki Gion fainted. The T-Dolphin freezes before it can be rescued. Akainu Kizaru can't afford to be seriously injured. The rest are here again. Below the fortress, 5 elders stood there. The human weapon that the Ministry of Science has produced for a few years has arrived. There is a dangerous light in the eyes of 5 elders, and it seems that there is something incredible to deal with Luo Fang. 30 new pacifists ran into the square from the rear of Marineford. The scary thing is that there is a huge and strong person leading it. When everyone present saw this figure and face, they all showed expressions of horror. Luo Fang also rubbed his chin and looked at this unexpected character, and said, The world government really doesn't do personnel affairs, don't you know the deceased? The figure in front of him is tall and sturdy, with two curved horns on his head, a black shawl and long hair, expressionless on his hateful face, a metal circle around his neck, and a big mace in his hand. Beast Kaido. The crowd was stunned. What's the situation? Hasn't this guy been dead for many years? In the marine formation, Kong breathed a sigh of relief and explained. This is the Ministry of Science who has modified Kaido's body to retain the body and fruit abilities. People are already dead. This is just a war machine. Everyone present fell silent. World government. However, Luo Feng was thinking about it, touching his chin. No wonder they were evacuated as soon as they called the worm. It is estimated that the CP guy secretly took the corpse away. I didn't even think about it right away. It didn't make much sense. I could crush Kaido back then. At this time, no matter how strong it is useless. Whitebeard pirates, red hair pirates, Revolutionary Army, Marine, etc. The eyes were shocked. So many powerful men, 4 emperors, and admiral-level combat power, together besieged Luo Feng, the god of heaven. At the broadcast site of Sabayati Archipelago, more pirates gathered, and there were even news that people, merchants and nobles came to Sabayati Archipelago to watch. A crowd of people were shocked. These powerful people who heard their name but didn't see them all gathered now. What is even more shocking is that the top powerhouses are actually going to besiege the gods. Tiantian Luo Feng vs Marineford is the strongest of the audience. Red Earl, Bullet and others who condensed huge armor. The strongest captain and deputy captain of Red Hair Pirates. The leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon. Kazuki Odin of the Whitebeard Pirates. Vinsmoke leader Judge. Naval Headquarters, Marshal Sengoku, Hero Garp, Black Arm Zephyr, Aokiji, Fujitora, Green Bull. The Marshal of the World Government, Kong, the Beasts, Kaido War Machine. Such a grand battle is about to start. Supernova Kid and others opened their mouths, their faces covered with sweat. Backquote, historically, there are so many powerful men and legendary figures who can be besieged, only the gods. After Hawkins finished speaking, the tarot card in his hand wanted to fortune Luo Feng, but he directly burned the tarot card. The gods will win. Jewelry exuded worship in his eyes, and said firmly. No. Do you know how powerful these people will be in fighting? Whether this sea area can exist will be a question. Drake's eyes were worried. No Xian Zhao. Now they are all in this sea. If it really breaks down, there will be nowhere to escape even to the end of New World. Trafalgar Luo sneered and looked at the big screen, holding Luo Feng with his arms indifferent. It's dark. Is it an offense? Beige bit his cigar and looked at the picture decoration that suddenly darkened on the big screen. Bullet has finally completed its huge body armor. I'll come first. With a crazy laugh. The powerful physical body controls a huge body that is several times taller than Little Oz. Both feet are already stuck in the sea, and Hockey's cover is temporarily not afraid of the ability to eliminate the sea. One hand is enough to cover half a square. Just lifting it up, there was a gust of wind, and the powerful people below pulled a distance. The giant hand whizzed down, bringing up a terrifying air pressure, blowing a messy broken square, and shooting towards Luo Feng. Ice Age. A lot of cold air came out of Aokiji's body, facing Luo Feng in the air. Huge icicles flew towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng instantly formed ice cubes around Luo Feng and spread around. The power of freezing continues to increase. Limit Luo Feng's actions and let the big hands take photos. Click. Luo Feng still looked at the big hand, his own aura exploded, and the ice cubes shattered directly. Sandstorm. The storm condensed in Crocodile's hand and flew towards Luo Feng. Gravity Knife. Hell Brigade. With a wave of Fujitora's stick and knife, a large purple halo enveloped Luo Feng. Gravity acts on Luo Feng infinitely. Fujitora's face was full of sweat, and her figure was trembling constantly. Use the gravity fruit with all your strength. Crocodile is to control the dust storm. Disrupted Luo Feng's line of sight and blocked the entire area. Shadow Horn Gun. Gecko Moria gathered the shadows and formed a huge shadow gun to Luo Feng. The giant hand of Bullet in the sky is about to photograph Luo Feng. The timing of Moria's shadow shot is perfect. It worked well. Sandstorms and gravity blocked my actions, and the shadows pierced me. Or, Bullet's giant hand came to hurt me. Luo Feng murmured to himself with a smile. Bullet big hand down. The harbor and square shattered in an instant, and the strong wind blew all around. Hit. 5 elders stared at the broken harbor with solemn eyes. The ground sank, the seawater poured in, and the gravel floor fell into the sea. No matter how strong the gods are, they will be shaken under such a bombardment. The strong swallowed their throats. Even when he said this, he was not very confident. Only Bullet has a cold sweat on his face and panic. Only the ground is overwhelmed by his big hands. The god Luo Feng didn't even move. The giant armor giants seem to be difficult to distinguish from others, but Bullet knows it very well. Click. At the place where the big hand pressed, the air burst. Torn apart, the cracks are getting denser and denser. This is shock fruit ability. Whitebeard looked surprised in the distance, and the gods even used his fruit power, shock fruit. Sengoku, Kong and others were even more shocked and terrified. It's shock fruit's ability, how can it be possible? This is the ability of Whitebeard Newgate. More importantly, the activation of this fruit ability has the ability to directly cause natural disasters such as earthquakes and tsunamis to destroy the world. With the power of the god Luo Feng, I am afraid it can be used even better than Whitebeard. It's not just the people at Marineford who looked shocked. The broadcast of the Sabayati Island group also caused a huge panic. Many people have deeply understood the power of shock fruit. It's shock fruit ability again. Bullet was shocked, and Impel was destroyed with a punch when it was down. The other big hand quickly lifted and patted the air crack. Boom, the whole Marineford hill is shaking. Bullet's 2 giant armored hands were directly shaken to pieces. Luo Feng, who was still underneath without any damage, was revealed with 1 punch. Do not feel the threat of despair. Bullet condensed crazily, complementing the big hands, and blocked the front of the body. Luo Feng directly penetrated the armor with the punch of shock fruit's ability and hit Bullet. Bullet's expression was dull, and his body was completely destroyed by his fist. The body armor shattered from inch to inch, poured to the surface of the sea. Luo Feng executed Bullet with a punch. Still in the original position, unscathed. Luo Feng floated slightly. Come on, continue. His eyes looked at Crocodile and Gecko Moria who had just shot. There was a whistling sound. A big knife made of sand cuts diagonally from the ground. Before touching Luo Feng's body, they scattered all over the place. Not enough strength, Luo Feng said lightly. Even the invisible armament Hawkeye on the periphery can't be broken. Gecko Moria captured the shadow of a large number of marine and revolutionary elites. Swallowed crazy in his own mouth. Body shape and strength continued to improve. Moria laughed and ran towards Luo Feng. Crocodile touched the ground and used his full power to create more sand, trying to condense a larger desert sword. Then try a stronger one, God. Crocodile bit his cigar, his eyes revealed fierceness. In a larger area on the ground, a more solid desert sword appeared, cutting Luo Feng silently. Luo Feng didn't even notice that he punched Crocodile and Gecko Moria in the air and left. A halo was pushed out from the fist. The 2 men throbbed when they saw Luo Feng, the god of heaven, making a move. Try to use the ability to stop it. Destruction punch. Luo Feng struck out a punch, then turned around and stopped looking at the 2 of them. This is a punch that combines shock wave, shock ability, and peak martial arts. Shiryu of Rain, who was slashing with a thunderstorm knife behind him, saw Luo Feng turn around and was stunned. A punch from the god suddenly erupted after the ripples spread. The shock wave drove a strong wind and directly covered Crocodile and Gecko Moria. From the broken ground that the 2 people stepped on, a deep ditch appeared, and the invisible shock wave and fist strength carried the shock ability to smash the huge ditch formed by the ground to the sea. The sea water separates the 2 sides from near to far, and can't close together for a long time. Everyone looked at the giant ditch in front of them and wiped their eyes. Unbelievable. The ground hit a huge ditch until the sea still formed a broken sea, with no end in sight. What a powerful punch is this? Crocodile didn't need to think about it. I am afraid it has become a powder and disappeared into the world. Shiryu of Rain was completely frightened, his expression extremely horrified. How can you report a fluke? The gods are invincible. Turn around and run, fleeing towards the sea. Thunder. In that direction, the black-robed Thor calmly raised his hand, and a circular thunder arc appeared on Shiryu's head. The next moment the arc of thunder broke out, endless thunder and lightning. Shiryu was executed without resistance. Red Earl and the others gritted their teeth tightly. It can be seen that the gods have never really used their strength. The power of the gods is really beyond imagination time and time again. Odin was shocked, but full of fighting spirit. Odin 2 swords. Tao Yuan 10 punches. Yan Mo and Tianyu Yu cut across Hawkeye and cut across to Luo Feng. After the cross-flying cut, people followed closely. Luo Feng made a move, and the execution knife flew out of the rock and returned to his hand. God! Odin was a little excited, and shouted as he slashed over. The deep impression left by Thor at the time, now he can fight against a god who is stronger than Thor. It's glorious to die. Remarkably brave. Luo Feng smiled lightly. The execution knife went from bottom to top and crossed towards Odin behind. The red and black knife light carries the gravity of the light lion fruit. Haven't been in contact, the cross cut directly broke and dissipated. The knife light directly hit Odin's double knives. At this time, violent winds and thunder formed in the sky, overwhelming the sky to cover Luo Feng. The Revolutionary Army, long shot. Chapter 91. Kazuki Odin caught Yan Mo and Tianyu Yuzhen firmly. When he touched Luo Feng's knife light, he flew out directly. Falling at the feet of Whitebeard in the distance, his figure was pressed down on the ground, a human-shaped pit. Kazuki Odin lay there desperately trying to stand up, but couldn't get up. By gee, the whole body is so heavy. Ha, so strong. Odin kept pouring blood out of his mouth, uttering a word in the pit, exhausting his strength. Whitebeard grabbed Odin's arm, his arm muscles surged, and pulled Odin out with a loud shout. A halo of body power emerged, and the gravity on Odin's body slowly disappeared. It's terrible gravity. Whitebeard's eyes throbbed and turned to look at the broken square, Luo Feng, the god of hurricanes and thunder and lightning. 3 tornadoes continued to increase their rotation around Luo Feng, accompanied by lightning flashes and thunder in the sky, waves of blue thunder and lightning bombarded. All the strong have retreated further. This is the force that provokes natural disasters, Revolutionary Army, Dragon. Lightning struck Luo Feng and turned into an element without any waves. The tornado wind blade and the rolled stones whizzed, and even the color of the armed forces in front of him could not break through. Luo Feng looked at a wild black hair with 4 corner marks on his face, and one hand facing his monkey D-dragon in the shape of a dragon's claw. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Long is definitely not weak. There must be one of the top 10 strong men in the world. Monkey D-dragon, the goal is also Tiank, who has ruled for 800 years. It was Luo Feng who was the first person in the One Piece world to consider drawing into the Celestial Pirates. Luo Feng touched his chin leisurely in the storm, thought for a while, and waved casually. Disperse like ripples, tornadoes, dark clouds and thunder and lightning are all pushed away. Monkey D-dragon. Luo Feng smiled and walked over. There was a trace of enthusiasm in the dragon's eyes, who turned out to be a militant strong man. The power of the gods is really shocking and regrettable. An aura burst out, and the powerful armed color and conquerors entangled in the dragon's hand. The ground underneath was shattered again due to Monkey D-dragon's reserve explosion, and the hurricane that was set off blew all around. Leader of the Revolutionary Army. Dragon. 5 elders has fierce eyes. As the #1 enemy of the world government, the strength of the dragon is so powerful. This fool. Garp hadn't seen his son for many years, and he didn't know where the dragon's strength had reached. From a purely aura, it was a little bit more blue than blue. All the people are extremely nervous. Can the leader of the Revolutionary Army with the momentum of the ancient dragon let the gods make a second move? Don't use your abilities. Luo Feng held the execution knife in one hand and walked over slowly. The attack of natural elements has no effect on the gods, so it's better not to use it. Monkey D-dragon stared and revealed conquerors. A 3-clawed dragon hand was placed with both hands, a strange attacking posture. Boom. The sonic boom sounded. The dragon rushed out instantly. I arrived in front of Luo Feng, who was strolling around the courtyard. With the incomparable Hawkeye, the 3-clawed dragon pressed his hand over. It will hit Luo Feng on the head in no time. Luo Feng's hand grabbed the dragon's claws at a faster speed. Bang! The red thunder like Hawkeye shot all around. Under the clear sky of thousands of miles, the sea seemed to be thrown off by some force and spread out into the distance. Strength and Hawkeye are both good. Luo Feng commented lightly. The figure is as stable as Mount High. Long was caught with the claw of his right hand, grabbed Luo Feng's palm while taking advantage of it, and continued to wave his left hand against Luo Feng's chest. Luo Feng doesn't dodge or dodge. Bang! There is another loud noise. The claws of the dragon collided with the chest, like the sound of golden iron. The power of the dragon claw followed Luo Feng's figure to act behind him, and a corner of the square that had been split and shattered was completely shattered. However, Luo Feng's height has not changed, there is no ground under his feet, and he is still floating at the origin. Grabbing Monkey D. Dragon's palm and raising it with a wave, Monkey D. Dragon flew directly upside down, smashing the houses next to the fortress. You also take my punch. Luo Feng's figure flashed, and instantly appeared in the midair where Monkey D. Dragon was frozen, raising his left fist. A group of revolutionary army was shocked. Panic. The scene where the god Luo Feng penetrated the sea is still in sight. Can the leader take a punch? Five elders' eyes brightened, and it was not bad that the gods killed the revolutionary army dragon here. Luo Feng didn't use any ability, pure Hawkeye and strength, punched Monkey D. Dragon who just got up on the ground. Compression of the air under the fist strength arouses a ripple. Boom! The whole island of Marineford shakes. Zero find flowers. A large area on the edge of the town was shattered every inch, and seawater poured in. Gosh! The whole audience was stunned. The members of the Revolutionary Army were completely foolish. Sabo was speechless, his eyes blank. Marineford was smashed by Luo Feng by at least a quarter. The leader dragon, how can he survive this kind of attack? Five elders' eyes were shocking, but at the same time a little delighted. The dragon is dead, but the next moment, five elders' pupils contracted. Luo Feng in midair made a move, and plunged into the ground. The dragon was submerged in seawater, floated up with blood, and threw it in front of the revolutionary army. The sin is not enough, it's not worth killing. Luo Feng chuckled lightly. This punch was enough to kill the dragon, but he used physical skills to let him go. Wake up and tell him not to leave, Luo Feng said to the dazed Sabo. Floating back on the square. Say it several times, let's go together. Luo Feng lifted the torture knife in his hand, and looked indifferently at the people whose expressions reached ultimate cautiously. Bullet, Shichibukai, Revolutionary Army Dragon, Kazuki Odin are all defeated. There is no backhand. The red-haired Shanks in the black cloak pulled out Griffin with a single left hand and took a deep breath. Slowly walked out. The invisible conquerors spread from Shanks and swept the entire Marineford. Four emperors, red-haired Shanks. Everyone held their breath, and the audience calmed down, but the sea was surging in their ears. The four emperors, Kaido, and Bigmom were all destroyed by the celestial pirates. Today, only Whitebeard and the red-haired Shanks. By the fortress, many of the densely packed marine warriors slumped to the ground directly under Shanks' Hawkeye, shuddering. This man who relied on swordsmanship and Hawkeye to sit on the seat of the four emperors, fully demonstrated his conquerors. Ben Beckman took out a special spear and stood beside the red hair. Fighting with the gods is also an honor. Please advise. Luo Feng laughed. God's advice, you have to take it. In Marine, Kong, Garp, Sengoku, Fujitora, Zephyr, and Green Bull are showing their momentum. Earl Red picked up the famous knife Thunderstorm on the ground. The whole Marineford, trembling. A loud roar. As a human weapon, Kaido screamed after transforming his body. The dragon's head appeared on the head, the dragon scales on the arm and shoulder appeared, and the fish and fish fruits appeared in the half-dragon form. Leading person. Behind Kaido's body, 30 pacifists opened their mouths wide, no longer condensed by laser light, but condensed by a hot flame. The heat of the blue dragon form. It turned out to be studied on pacifists. Drive Vegapunk is really a genius scientist who knows everything. Marshal Sengoku muttered to himself. Those who have seen Kaido Qinglong are all amazed. Azure Dragon Fruit's abilities have been transformed into pacifists. Can reach this scientific level unexpectedly. In a flash. 30 heat erupts. It merged into a huge heat and shot Luo Feng quickly. The ground along the way directly melted into a huge ditch with red light. 987. More than 30 pacifists launched and merged together to be even more powerful than Kaido's dragon body. These machines are annoying. Luo Feng frowned. The world government is committed to studying this kind of human weapon and how many sins the initiators and participants have committed. The execution knife in one fell swoop. Flames and lightning are entwined in the blade. Thunderfire. Slashed at the rapid heat. Knife light blue and red staggered, thunder and fire entangled. Meet the heat instantly. The blade was turned into a giant blade of thunder and fire, passing the heat. The instructions in Kaido's physical body flashed wildly. When Luo Feng raised his knife, he jumped far away. The heat disappeared directly under the thunder and fire, and the crackling erosion finished. The sword light was unimpeded and cut in front of 30 pacifists. Turning into thunder and fire, huge areas of destruction appeared. In the realm, sword gas, thunder and lightning, flame. Want to destroy everything inside. Everyone looked shocked, and the gods were angry. The field dissipated. The pacifists did not even leave a piece of iron. There is only one large circular pit on the ground in the domain. Flashing lightning flashing with molten lava and air. Completely destroyed. At this moment, Kong suppressed the shock in his heart, and opened his fingers in both hands to face Luo Feng, flashing to the front of Luo Feng. 6 styles. Kong's eyes widened, and the hockey and power on his body were super exciting. The blood and muscles are mobilized throughout the body, and the hands are condensed with unparalleled strength and power. Boom. Ben Beckman's seastone bullet, covering his own hockey, condensed to a point on the bullet, and hit Luo Feng on the head. Sengoku becomes a golden Buddha with full palm power. The giant palm of the golden body is pushed from Kong's side in the air. Luo Feng nodded secretly. Their speed is still slow in front of them. But at last he tried his best. It looked a bit like. Luo Feng broke through the apex of the world and focused on his perception. Their movements are very slow. It's like entering a world where you can slow down countless times. Everything was clearly displayed in front of him. Fujitora's wand knife is brewing gravitational potential energy. Kong's 6 styles launched by surpassing his own loss of life. Garp behind him condenses his entire body. The ultimate punch of Conqueror's Haki and Armament Haki will suddenly come with Kong's outburst. Garp is the main attacker, and Martial Kong and Sengoku are both auxiliary. Kaido's body jumped far away, and the dragon head launched a fusion attack of bad wind and heat. The red-haired Shanks next to Ben Beckman is already in a position to cut instantly when he has an offensive position. Behind him, Earl Red slashed out a black slash with a thunderstorm knife. It is taking off the tip of the sword to be cut. Blackbeard has added a dark mist ability that condenses for a long time to the black knife light. In an instant, Luo Feng felt all the offenses clearly. Upright, outbreak. Kong's eyes widened and flushed, and his 10 fingers opposed Luo Feng's hands. Luo Feng directly ignored the shock waves of Kong and Sengoku's golden bodies. The raised fist faced the direction of Garp's 3 people, and a punch hit the air. Click. The space seems to be pierced and shattered. The air flow brought up by the fist blows first, causing a gust of wind. A ripple spreads, powerful punches and shock fruit ability, lion fruit ability shocks and bursts. Kong's fingers twisted in an instant, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and he flew upside down. Garp's limit punch yelled at the invisible punch. Bang, boom. Garp's fist was red, and he tried his best to fight against the ripples of his fist. With a loud noise, Haki dispersed in all directions. Sengoku's golden Buddha-shaped double palm shockwave was launched and resisted together with Garp. Only half of the square shattered in the duel. A breath of heat gushes out of the half-dragonized Kaido's flesh on the side 0. Bringing the wind blade to spin and shoot quickly. Ben Beckman's bullet also reached Luo Feng's head. The red-haired Shanks carried Griffin's long knife, followed the light of Earl Red's black knife, and rushed up. Luo Feng was still calm, and didn't even turn his head back. The other left hand instantly pinched the seastone bullet, and the front right fist pushed forward. Garp's fist fractured, and he couldn't resist instantly and flew out. Martial Sengoku's shock wave had just risen, and the huge golden body that was directly obliterated under the ripples hit a big hole in the fortress wall. Fist strength followed the straight path, indomitable. The marine fighters dispersed quickly from left to right under Aokiji's prompt, and the 5 elders and armored soldiers have also avoided. But under the strong fist and the strong airflow, many people were still flying. The fortress was directly shattered in half, until the other side of the island. Everything on the path was razed to the ground until it was on the surface of the sea. The marine soldiers all grew their mouths and their eyes were terrified. Just so close. Fortunately, the others avoided Aokiji's prompt response. Marshal Sengoku. Garp Vice Admiral. Marshal Sengoku. The Marines nervously saw 3 Garp and others fainted on the ground beside the half-fallen fortress. Luo Feng didn't even look at the damage caused, and kneaded with his left hand, and the seastone bullet was crushed like a dough. The heat from the extremely fast rotation concealed Luo Feng's figure. Roll. A barrier appeared in front of Luo Feng, and the heat was blocked. With his palm facing Kaido's flesh, lion fruit started. Numerous gravel and mud blocks on the ground wrapped Kaido's body and rose into the sky. Formed a meteorite-like sphere floating in the air. From the side, a huge black knife slashed out. A red and black Hawkeye entangled in Luo Feng's hand, and he grabbed it directly with his hands. A pinch. Bang. Knife Guangwachi scattered behind the knife. A figure brought conquerors oncoming. On Griffin's long knife, Hawkeye is circling red. From top to bottom, like a red meteor, dragging a long trail to chop it down. Luo Feng executed a torture knife in one fell swoop. 2 knives touch each other in the air. Hawkeye kept colliding in the middle, forming a circle visible to the naked eye. One of the 4 emperors, the full slash of the red-haired Shanks. The collision between Luo Feng and the red-haired Shanks exudes the ultimate Hawkeye collision. Among the 4 emperors, Kaido is known as the strongest creature, Bigmom is the most terrifying, and Whitebeard is known as the closest and strongest man. And Redhead Shanks, Hawkeye is the strongest. In the confrontation with Luo Feng at this moment, there was a bang. The Hawkeye burst was accompanied by a strong air current. The red-haired Shanks was taken off. Ben Beckman caught the redhead Shanks quickly. No need to fight. Shanks smiled bitterly. The Hawkeye air flow that erupted from the center of the 2 of them blew the audience. The surrounding rocks are flying, and the dust is flying. Half of the shaky fortress also collapsed. The people on the island and the Whitebeard pirates who boarded the ship, Straw Hat crew couldn't help reaching out to cover their cheeks. The hull shook. Shanks. Straw Hat Luffy yelled worriedly. Shanks was knocked into the air. Excitedly jumped off the boat and ran in the direction of Shanks. Luo Feng glanced at the fingers of his left hand, and there was a small cloud of black mist attached. The black knife light that burst just now carries the dark power condensed by Blackbeard Teach. Shaking hands, the black mist dissipated. He looked up at Blackbeard Teach and Red Earl. Unmatched. The true god. From the heat of pacifism in the world government to the slash of the red-haired Shanks, one of the 4 emperors. At most 1 minute before and after. All lost. Earl Hong no longer has the heart that shakes the god Luo Feng. What a siege, an attack. Contending head-on with Kong's ultimate blow to consume life force, as well as Garp and Sengoku. The Red Earl is very clear about their power. Back then, Kong and Garp who came here personally sent him in to impel down. In terms of sin, the gods will definitely start. Run. Red Earl glanced at Blackbeard next to him, and felt it under the innately powerful observation Hawkeye. At this time, Blackbeard Teach's heart was also horrified and gloomy, and he still thought about whom he wanted to murder. Earl Red squinted his eyes. Finally, do you have anything else to say? Silently, Luo Feng appeared in front of the 2. The killing intent for Blackbeard Teach has been completely raised. Routine questioning before execution, but infinite fear arose in the hearts of the 2. Sentenced to death by the gods. The black shadow of Earl Red flashed and fled directly. Even if he couldn't rush out, he couldn't be killed by the god Luo Feng like this. And Blackbeard Teach looked desperate. The coldness of death rises from the soles of the feet. God. In despair, Blackbeard exploded with a will to survive. The whole body is completely turned into a dark mist. It keeps spinning like a human-shaped black hole. Come on, God. Blackbeard screamed frantically, and kept on hypnosis to himself. The dark fruit ability is invincible and powerful. Sad. Teach. Whitebeard's eyes revealed that he looked at Blackbeard indifferently. Everyone in the audience has lost the confidence and courage to fight against the gods. Too strong. Luo Feng. Luo Feng held the execution knife in his hand, and flames and white halo emerged from the blade. Blackbeard Teach saw Luo Feng's sword using its power. His eyes lit up. Perhaps, the dark power that was fully turned on could be supported by the gods. God, I caught your cut, you let me go. Teach shouted to Luo Fang as if he had hope. Okay, Blackbeard. Luo Fang smiled faintly. At this time, he still had this idea in his mind. Blackbeard Teach was cunning enough. Take the next blow. Luo Fang used a torture knife in his hand to slowly cut off to Blackbeard. Very slow, very slow. Experience what true despair is. Luo Fang's plain words sounded in Blackbeard Teach's ear, looking at the execution knife that was slowly cut down. The unceasing stimulus power of the whole body spreads Hawkeye. The whole person turned into a black ball. The surrounding things are constantly being swallowed under the rotation. Only Luo Fang and Zonlai's execution knife were not affected. The flame and white halo on the knife touched the periphery of the black ball and was not swallowed at all. Blackbeard Teach felt the power of flames and vibrations that made the darkness retreat. Not enough, not enough. The horrified voice shouted. The invisible Hawkeye suppression of the god Luo Fang couldn't dodge it at all. The dark fruit has been urged to ultimate, and it has no effect. The black mist was directly burned into nothingness by the flame. Do not. Click. The black ball broke through countless white cracks, torn apart. Flame erupts. There was a huge wave on the sea. The water level dropped a lot, and a flame and shaking force went straight to the sea. The black mist that Blackbeard Teach had melted was only the melted ground with red light. Lonely Red galloped towards 5 elders. Want to use 5 elders to fight for opportunities. There is only the mysterious 5 elders in the audience who has a little hope to fight against the god Luo Fang. What about you, Lonely Red? What else do you have to say in the end? Luo Fang's voice reminded of Earl Hong. So fast. Red Earl thunderstorm knife turned, braving the black light to cut Luo Fang, who appeared suddenly. Luo Fang's execution knife did not hesitate, and cut faster. Ding, bang. The famous knife thunderstorm in Red Earl's hand broke directly in two. The arm was directly cut off. Blood spewed out, and the whole person flew sideways to the side of the execution platform, smashing a big hole. In the big pit, the rocks are shaking, all being pushed apart. The Lonely Red who had been cut off from the wrist stood up. Still dripping blood to the ground. The old face was extremely pale. Cough, cough, cough. Red Earl coughed a few times and coughed up a lot of blood. 30 years, I'm old, I can't bear this little injury. The aura continued to explode, and conquerors spread out in waves. Just like Roger, Golden Lion, Whitebeard, the Red Earl. The real momentum is fully developed. Treat death as home. In prison for more than 30 years, I originally thought it would die of old age, but now it is a blessing to die under the hands of the gods. Earl Hong raised his head and looked at Luo Fang, the god of heaven who was walking slowly. I felt ashamed for the survival and escape just now. Even if you stay and impel down until you die of old age, you can't redeem your sins. Luo Fang said lightly, there is only one death. Although Earl Hong had no intention to fight in his heart, he still wanted to shoot with all his strength and died under the hands of the gods. Don't say you don't give you the first chance. Luo Fang's execution knife was stuck on the ground and watched quietly. Earl Hong was taken aback for a moment, and then gave a tragic laugh. The blood stopped at the fracture of the right hand. The momentum of the body is constantly rising. The blood flowed quickly, except for the right arm, a red mist rose up all over his body. This kind of mist is the use of physical skills, which is caused by the rapid consumption of vitality. The armed color continued to cover his body. The whole person turned into red and black. Earl Hong's eyes are no longer confused, but he fights. Look at Luo Fang's eyes, with respect and calmness. Honorable God, Barloric Letterfield, accept your execution. Letterfield, I thought you were a coward. Whitebeard Lololo laughed. Lonely Red. Kong, who woke up, also looked weakly at Earl Red. Ledfield, who was lonely and arrogant at the time, woke up to his own consciousness as a strong man. Enlightened, come on. Luo Fang stood up straight, the invisible coercion radiating from his body. Bang! Earl Red stepped on the ground, and the big pit he was standing broke instantly, and the ground cracked with huge cracks. One leg kicked Luo Fang from top to bottom in an instant. Luo Fang raised his left hand, just blocking the leg kicked by Earl Hong. The huge impact caused the ground to sink into a big hole. Hawkeye scattered, blowing a messy air current, and the rocks rolled. Luo Fang floated under his feet, not moving at all. Red Earl's physical skills are really powerful, if he goes out and finds the civet cat and the phantom beast species. Vampire fruit, it can be much stronger. With a wave of his left hand, Earl Hong was directly thrown into the higher air. The blood mist spread in the air, and the Red Earl smashed a leg to compress the blood flow and condense conquerors and armament hockey. With strong pressure, he stepped on Luo Feng from a higher air. The red meteorite falls like a fall. Luo Feng wrapped hockey on his hand and stretched out his palm. Before anyone arrived, the mighty hockey was caught in the impact of the air current. The big pit under Luo Feng's body keeps expanding and sinking. Everyone, retreat to the other side of the island. Aokiji exclaimed that the destructive power of these Zeon's battles with the gods was too strong. Physical skills and hockey alone can cause more destructive power than Logia's ability. Marineford Fortress, Square, and more than half an island can no longer be saved. When soldiers from naval headquarters and ordinary soldiers from world government left, Red Earl's powerful foot touched Luo Feng's palm hockey with a little distance away. This kind of space collision can only be formed when conquerors is applied to a very deep state. A loud noise. In front of the execution platform, the square and crescent bay completely collapsed and shattered. Turned into rubble and mud fell into the sea. Luo Feng is still suspended in place, the sea water that has poured in under his feet. Earl Red's right foot shattered into powder and disappeared completely. Gritting his teeth and holding back the severe pain, Earl Red landed on the execution platform with one leg. With a loud shout, hockey with his left hand was completely covered, and blood mist came out. Continue to fight for the left hand. I admit your strength. Luo Feng still stretched out his hand, with a rare serious expression on his face. This guy wanted to die just like that. The affirmation of the gods makes me feel glorious. Count Red smiled on his pale face. I glanced at Whitebeard, Kong, Garp and other old friends who were on the sidelines. In his mind, Roger's heroic smile jumped up on one leg and punched Luo Feng away. Luo Feng also raised his fist, hockey opened up. The mighty power of ultimate makes the seawater under your feet recede. Facing the Red Earl with a punch in the air. It was like an air cannon with a fist. Without resistance, Earl Hong couldn't help closing his eyes, his left hand shattered and disappeared. Fly upside down and fell behind the island and fell in front of Garp and others. His hazy eyes slowly closed, and the corners of his mouth were smiling. Death in the hands of gods is also a relief for a strong man facing old death. Everyone at Marine's eyes throbbed. None of the legendary characters can survive Luo Feng's hand. The sea is turbulent. The Revolutionary Army and the pirates stayed on the ship separately, and the ship was shaking as if it was about to capsize. But there was no movement from the violent shaking in his heart. Invincible God, invincible posture. Everyone was surprised and terrified, shocked and lost their souls, and now they have worshipped the god Luo Feng in their hearts. Daddy, Marco and the others saw Whitebeard slowly walking to the execution table. Odin, who was badly injured, was also on the boat, struggling to sit up. By G. Whitebeard Newgate didn't want to die in bed comfortably. On Marine's side, his complexion changed drastically. All members landed on the warship. How many can be boarded? Hide the origin first. Sengoku woke up, ignoring his injury, coughing up blood and shouting. You get on the boat first. 5 elders didn't dare to be careless, and ordered to the armored soldiers. The destructive power of Whitebeard's battle with the gods is probably even more terrifying. Luo, the god Luo Feng, have been waiting for you for a long time. Whitebeard cut the cloud in his hand to the ground, and said with a smile. Whitebeard, your sins are enough to be executed. Luo Feng also smiled and stepped onto the ground. The two seemed to have known each other for many years, and they chatted together. I know, Roger, Golden Lion, Letterfield, or me are not the most sinful. Whitebeard was calm. As a pirate, only those who appreciate the people around him are good people. For most ordinary people, many times suffer from it. Fear, or because of the victims, is extremely evil, and more people hope that Whitebeard can die. Luo Feng nodded and smiled. Whitebeard knew where his sins came from. Backquote, I promised you to shoot with all your strength, aren't you afraid of being executed by me? Fear, I still want to continue to be free on the sea with my family, but I am not afraid, I will not die comfortably. I am, Whitebeard. Whitebeard Newgate laughed loudly, exuding magnificently. The heroic and incredible Whitebeard. The temperament on his body could not help but infect everyone who watched the game. Pirates, all galloping in the sea, God. What is the purpose of you called the pirate group? Whitebeard stopped laughing and asked. This question made everyone watching the game listen carefully. Although they are far apart, there is no shortage of masters who use their knowledge. Luo Feng glanced far away. It ended up on 5 elders. 5 elders also watched solemnly. To be precise, it really cannot be called the pirate group. Luo Nano's wind touched his chin, turned back to Whitebeard and continued. It doesn't matter what the name is, we only kill the sinners. Regardless of the status, you can still kill them. This is the purpose, the sinners. After Luo Feng finished speaking, he laughed. In recent years, people of sins have not rarely executed punishments. Even the characters in the legend were executed by Luo Feng. One Piece Roger, Golden Lion Shiki, Kaido, Bigmom. Red Earl, plus Whitebeard's words, the existence of the overlord of the sea of the older generation, all died under Luo Feng's execution. All the people were dumbfounded. Think of what the celestial pirates have done for many years. Not only the pirates, but also celestial dragons. The world nobleman who walked out of Mariajoy and encountered the celestial dragons was also executed. However, people like Mihawk, the Eagle Eye, killed the fierce pirates, or the characters in the marine, and the celestial pirates did not kill. What Luo Feng said, let's take a look. He is really executing the wicked. Whitebeard narrowed his eyes. The things done by the celestial pirates are truly unprecedented. A simple person who has not executed the sins. How many unknown sins are there on the sea? You don't need to know, sin exists in the body. When I am there, there is nowhere to hide. Luo Feng's execution knife was horizontally in front of him, gently brushing it across the blade. You are worthy of respect, God. Whitebeard Kong Yun squeezed to the ground, the muscles of both hands were surging, and he grasped Luo Feng with both hands, and the space seemed to be grasped by the hands. The entire sea area began to vibrate slightly. Whitebeard Newgate started to do it. Boom. The whole island of Marineford trembles constantly. The sky and the ocean start to tilt. Even if Luo Feng was floating in the air, he was still tilted up. People from all sides watched this scene in shock on the boat or in the corner of the island. This is the strongest man in the world, the power of Whitebeard to unleash his abilities. Too messy. Newgate. Does he want to destroy the entire sea? Sengoku's eyes widened and his face was horrified. The ocean, the sky, and the islands tilt and vibrate. The entire ocean nearby seemed to be pressed down against Luo Feng. Really obscure the sky and the sun, the sky is spinning. Luo Feng floated in the vibrating and reversal air, looking at the entire ocean that was constantly pressing over his head. By who is worthy of being Whitebeard? Although shock fruit is not awakened, it can reach this level. Luo Feng murmured a little. The palm of his right hand stretched out, and his 5 fingers were scratching at the sky. As if grasping the pulse of space, a white ripple rippled out. The space revolving around the sky slowly calmed down. The ocean has returned to its original state. The sky and the island no longer tilt. The awakened shock fruit ability smoothed out the twisting vibrations launched by Whitebeard easily. The god is really a god. Kong Yunchi turned on Whitebeard's hand, his aura rose wildly. That kind of proud haki swept across Marineford like a hurricane. The island is shaking and splitting. Whitebeard's hands are full of power mobilization. Kong Yun cuts. Face Luo Feng and cut out again with a white halo. The white round knife light keeps getting bigger and bigger in the air. Luo Feng still did not respond. Between raising his hands, the shock fruit ability is also in his hands. He caught the slashing white ball of light and slashed. Click, click, the space burst, like a huge mirror being smashed to pieces from the middle. Strong wind and air currents, huge earthquake waves. Crazy surging up at this moment. The huge waves centered on Luo Feng, forming a tsunami and spreading in all directions. Whitebeard panted heavily, still maintaining the posture of the knife. Marineford is already torn apart. Luo Feng, who was at the center of the power explosion, was unscathed. Maintaining a grasping posture in his hands. The shock slash that was enough to destroy a piece of red line just now. It was caught by Luo Feng with bare hands. A lot stronger than everyone before. Luo Feng nodded secretly. If Whitebeard was not sick or injured, the whole Marineford would not be able to stop him from saving Ace. Whitebeard is fighting over drawing his life at this time. Otherwise, the painful body will not be able to exert its full strength. Nevertheless, the god Luo Feng still took it lightly, not even a piece of his clothes was folded. Luo Feng slowly raised the execution knife, disappearing in place like a gust of wind. Whitebeard turned his head to the left and right, and Kong Yun cut his hand to the left and slashed hard. The execution knife and Kong Yunchi face each other in the air. Red hockey lightning surged out. The cracks in the space caused by Shockfruit's ability spread. The entire island of Marineford, except for the feet of two people, began to collapse. The sea level keeps falling. The boat can't hold it. Kuzan, Garp and the others were horrified. The encounter between these two people meant that the whole Marineford was gone. Aokiji Kuzan heard Garp Vice Admirals call and understood what Garp meant. Take a deep breath and leap to the sky above Marineford. Below, Luo Feng simply used Shockfruit ability and Hockey to resist Whitebeard's slash. Kuzan glanced at the colliding storm. Ice Age, full open. 4 icicles spread out from his body, heading to the sea in 4 directions of the island. Freeze. The sea quickly froze into ice. Continue to spread. The place where the shock wave propagated shattered the ice surface, and in an instant it was frozen into the ice surface. The island has shattered into cracks of various sizes, the sea is surging, and even the warship is about to sink, and the vibration will cause a tsunami to hit in all directions. Only Aokiji Kuzan can take action, freezing the entire sea area nearby. The confrontation between Luo Feng and Whitebeard lasted for a while, and Whitebeard, who took the initiative to attack Luo Feng, didn't hold on. Frozen kid. Whitebeard felt a dull pain throughout his body and got up from the ice. Luo Feng raised his head and glanced at Aokiji, who had overused his ability and fell near Marine. It is also good to have an ice battlefield. Finally, do you have anything to say? Luo Feng held the torture knife horizontally in his right hand, and there was no change on the knife. But Whitebeard felt the terrifying power of the blade. Luo Feng, the god of heaven, is going to make an all-out effort. Go all out, Whitebeard shouted, using all his strength. The blood rushed through his body, and the red and black hockey that was visible to the naked eye flowed through his body. Even the wounds on the abdomen and chest were slightly hot. Luo Feng nodded. This blow, I will do my best. This knife is called Destruction Slash. As soon as the voice fell, the land under Luo Feng's feet was instantly shattered. I don't know when the sky was covered with dark clouds, and was drawn by Luo Feng's aura like a funnel. Thunderlight, hurricanes kept appearing, and they gathered towards the execution knives. The end is coming. Luo Feng, the god who stands with a sword, does not exist in the world. It's like a god descending again. Whitebeard's eyes widened and smiled. Stepping on the ice, holding Kong Yunchi's tail with both hands. The crazy launch of Shockfruit's ability is condensed on the blade. The white power aperture expands and shrinks, constantly compressing firmly. Father, Marco, Ace, Joes and the Whitebeard pirates burst into tears. Jinbei couldn't stop his tears, and Straw Hat Crew Nami and others covered their mouths with shocking eyes. The redhead Shanks and others were even more speechless in shock. A full blow from the gods. Fujitora, Garp, Sengoku, and others all frowned, shocking Luo Feng and Whitebeard's fighting power. At this time, they were worried about what kind of damage the two people's full blow would cause. This sea area is really about to collapse. 5 elders looked at each other with ugly expressions. Clenched fists, the blade came out of the sheath. After Luo Feng collided with Whitebeard, it was the best mobile phone meeting. Shichibukai, the pirate Empress Hancock, and Hawkeye Mahawk, all turned their heads and ran farther. The expression in the eyes of the gods showed a fanatical worship. The world is going to be destroyed. The revolutionary ship was too close to the two of them. Sabo was carrying Monkey D. Dragon on his back, and a group of revolutionary forces behind him quickly fell off the ship and ran to the distant ice with a look of horror. This kind of terrifying power, I am afraid that the aftermath will not be able to take it down. The world seemed to be quiet. Luo Feng held a knife under the anomaly caused by heaven and earth. Looking at Whitebeard Newgate indifferently. The execution knife was facing, and Whitebeard fell in the air. The space is cut open by agitation, and when it falls, there is a rhythm. In an instant the ice under Whitebeard's feet cracked into a crack. Whitebeard Newgate opened his mouth and yelled, opening his eyes. Kong Yun cut to Luo Feng and threw it out. Boom. Click. The space is torn apart. At this time, Luo Feng's execution knife was also completely cut off. The invisible knife gas carries a compressed air current. Incorporates the abilities of shock fruit, lightning, flame, shock wave, conqueror's hockey, armament hockey, etc. Cooperate with the execution knife to launch a destructive slash. Whitebeard Newgate felt a breeze through the crack in the space in front of him, blowing on his face. Very comfortable, with a smile, slowly closed his eyes. Next moment, like a white air current, the sword light with a long trail appeared, emitting a huge light. Whitebeard's figure was hidden in the light. Except Luo Feng, everyone covered their eyes. The world is white. Boom. A loud bang reverberates continuously. The people who couldn't bear the dazzling white light heard it, but they felt very quiet. When you open your eyes, only the god Luo Feng floated faintly in the air, touching his chin. When looking at where Whitebeard is, the expression froze on his face. Daddy. The group of Whitebeard pirates looked at the scene in front of them and murmured in a daze. Marine, Kong and Garp Vice Admiral, Marshal Sengoku, and others, had no expressions, and were shocked and lost in their hearts. How can it be? Is this a miracle? The redhead Shanks and the Revolutionary Army are even more so. Looking at the scene below Luo Feng blankly. Even 5 elders' brains are blank. Where Whitebeard was standing, his figure was long gone. Where the god Luo Feng cut down, the surrounding ice has completely disappeared. The sea was split on both sides to an invisible distance. The fog is still rising, and the ocean that cannot be closed is divided into 2 sides, reaching the bottom of the sea. Things on the bottom of the sea are clearly visible, and a huge deep trench is on the bottom of the sea. Thunder and lightning, flames, and knife energy flashed in the deep trench, and the molten slurry was flowing. The sea water that I want to close is constantly evaporating and cutting. There is an invisible force that separates the sea on both sides. Steam rises in the sky above, and there are thunderous clouds over the sea. Flickers corresponding to the thunder and lightning flames on the seabed. Luo Feng's destructive cut, the remaining terrifying power, made the sea wonder how long it would take to recover. Luo Feng touched his chin and sighed. After cutting, Whitebeard has taken the sword, otherwise I am afraid that it will cut into the lava layer and cause a big explosion on the seabed. As for the seawater separation that cannot be closed, it has little effect. In the eyes of everyone, it is not without much influence. This knife, I don't know how far away. The seawater on both sides split, at least 400 to 500 meters apart, and a depth of 1,000 meters. The huge knife marks on the seabed are black and even the depths are unknown. This is the full blow of the gods. No one thought about where Whitebeard was anymore. Under such a slash, the fragments left by the clouds were unimaginable. The live broadcast of Sabayati Archipelago. The number of onlookers is already innumerable. People of all identities in the world watched this unprecedented war nervously. There is no safe place in the world. From the moment Bullet's huge palm was pressed down, the big screen shook for a while. Then it was even darker for a while. When it lights up again, the angle of view has changed from the harbor to the back of Marineford, and the picture keeps retreating. Disappeared from the harbor, until Marine besieged Luo Feng, the god of heaven. The naval headquarters collapsed, and Luo Feng, the god of heaven, wiped out all the destructive punches. Kill Blackbeard, the Red Earl, and then hit the red-haired Shanks and get injured. Oh my god. Reporters from all over the world are no longer in a hurry to panic. They are holding the pen in their hands and recording everything that happened in the war. Marineford, a legendary figure of the invincible god of tyranny. The true god descends, no one can accept God's move. Naval headquarters collapsed. The 4 emperors were defeated. Look, Whitebeard Newgate is out. 0 find flowers. Panic appeared on the numb faces of the onlookers. Whitebeard, someone who has the power to destroy the world. An old man said tremblingly. What did the gods say? Those who execute sins. The voice was not so clear. Everyone in the audience wanted to know what the purpose of the true god descended on the ordinary pirate group. At this time, the sirens of Sabayati archipelago sounded, and the tsunami came, and everyone sought refuge at high points by themselves. As soon as Whitebeard took action, the small islands in the nearby sea began to face the impact of the tsunami. The next moment, Luo Feng grabbed his hand on the big screen, all the vibrations disappeared and the tsunami was lifted. But there are still people in black who directly moved the big screen to Area 33, which is the highest on the island. A group of reporters, onlookers, pirates, etc., all moved to the 33 road. Everyone hasn't come and stand in place. The entire sea began to vibrate, the sea was surging with huge waves, and another tsunami came. Not only Sabayati archipelago, Eni's lobby, Impel Down, and even Mariajoy on Red Line were hit by a strong earthquake. The dark clouds spreading from Marineford have enveloped the surrounding islands in the sea. The wind blows, like the end of the world. The gods are going to make a move. Oh my god, what a scene is this! On the shaking large screen, a group of people saw Luo Feng, the god of heaven who raised a knife with one hand and affected dark clouds, thunder and lightning, and hurricanes. Jewelry and other supernovae are shocked. Tenjin, are you going to deal with Whitebeard? With this cut, the gods have said that they must make a full shot. Besh threw away the cigar in his mouth, watching the scene with shocked eyes. God's full blow. Everyone held their breath and fell silent. With Luo Feng's execution knife cut down, the picture is directly dark. It's not too late to be anxious. The entire Sabayati archipelago shook violently, earthquake. A large number of houses collapsed. The squally wind blowing from Marineford caused everyone to seize the nearby solid objects. Until everything calms down, the big screen was squared again, and the picture appeared. The audience's eyes widened, their mouths widened, and no sound came out. How is it possible? Is this a miracle? Everyone in Supernova, Kid and others' faces were frozen in shock. The sea. It was cut open. Everything calmed down. The sea is rising, and the waves have hit the low-lying houses. Sabayati Archipelago 33 Regional Highlands. Everyone looked at the miraculous picture on the big screen. The expression freezes. The entire Marineford Island has been torn apart. A huge orb like a meteorite floated in the sky. The surrounding sea has frozen into ice. The ice surface where Luo Feng, the god of heaven, slashed out of the direction has completely disappeared. The sea is surging, and a huge gap is separated in the middle, to the bottom of the sea. The sea water will not close for a long time. The thunder fire knife flashed at the crack that couldn't see the end. At the broadcast scene, everyone had no time to activate the frozen painted expressions. A huge knife flashed on the big screen. Everyone shouted in surprise. That is, 5 elders. At the next moment, the big screen of 990 was directly dark. Broken Marineford. Luo Feng held the execution knife with his backhand, turned his head and looked to the left. The figure in the white kimono, holding a long sword, slashed out a huge slash of light. The meteorite enveloping Kaido's body was cut open instantly. A dragon chant. Kaido's body peeled open the dirt and gravel, the faucet stretched out, and the purple thunder and lightning flashed. A giant dragon appeared around the floating meteorite. The limbs are flying in the clouds, the huge body is surrounded by the cut meteorite, and the purple thunder and lightning continue all over the body. The dragon chants in the air. Behind the faucet, a black metal ring is fixed there. On the huge dragon head, the eyes showed white light, lifeless. The powerful Longwei oppresses everyone below. Kaido's blue dragon form. Luo Feng didn't even look at the huge dragon on his head. Instead, he looked at the 5 people standing on Marineford's broken soil. The highest power of the world government. 5 elders. 5 elders will even make a move. On the ice, Marine, Pirates, Revolutionary Army and others have different expressions. Shocked, side, hostile. Should the 5 old guys take action first? Luo Feng shook the execution knife in his hand and said with interest while touching his chin. God, we recognize your strength. Even if we make a move, we are not half sure to keep you. The old man with blonde hair and beard said solemnly. The god Luo Feng is extremely powerful, and his invincible posture really scared them. But you have been fighting one after another, from Bigmom to Whitebeard. I am afraid that your consumption will not be able to support it. Just now, with a slash, the old man with glasses and a bald kimono said in a low voice. Luo Feng stroked his chin. Do I consume a lot? Why doesn't it feel anything? 5 elders, what do you mean? Whether you are beheading the crime or for other purposes, so far, the world government and Mariajoy have recognized your strength. Do not interfere with each other. The old man wearing a dark blue suit and white straight hair said solemnly. The celestial pirates are too powerful to completely leave Luo Feng. What's more, there are 5 gods in the air watching quietly in the 4 directions. No matter what the purpose is, hold them firmly and wait for Master Yim to decide. You said, those celestial dragons, are they gods? Luo Feng did not answer the question, but asked 5 elders instead. They are descendants of the creator god, descendants of God. 5 elders squinted and replied. The power of the body is ready to be activated. God, the sinful celestial dragons, they are just the descendants of the royal family left over from the 19 kingdoms 800 years ago, how come one of the gods said. Luo Feng looked at the execution knife and continued. And where do you come from? Question the strength of the gods, and negotiate terms with the true gods. Boom. Luo Feng completely releases Conqueror's Hawkeye. The sky was blown by momentum, and the sky was clear instantly. Hawkeye storms. More powerful than before, the substantial Conquerors presses down on 5 elders like the entire sky. You, celestial dragons, and none of them can run away. Luo Feng's indifferent voice came, and the killing intent locked 5 elders. 5 elders' complexion changed a lot. How did the god Luo Feng know Lord Yimu? And the attitude that obviously won't let Mariajoy go. Next moment, Luo Feng's Conqueror's Hawkeye was invisibly suppressed on 5 elders. The 5 elders were crushed on the ground in an instant, and the incomparable Hawkeye made them smash a big hole in the ground. The surrounding ice is constantly cracking. Luo Feng looked at the 5 people indifferently, and Conquerors converged. Understood, 5 self-righteous old men. The execution knife appeared in his hand. Facing 5 people. Finally, do you have anything else to say? At this time, the huge blue dragon hovering in the sky, his eyes turned red from white light, and he uttered a dragon chant at Luo Feng, and the dragon's breath was brewing in his mouth. Dead body, it is not worth the shot of Captain Celestial. The hoarse voice sounded, and the snow god appeared in front of the huge blue dragon. The fist with a cold fist struck the dragon's mouth in the air. Boom! A sonic fist hit Qinglong's mouth. The breath of the dragon in Qinglong's mouth disappeared instantly, and the red and white light in his eyes flickered. From the faucet, it quickly freezes and spreads. Click. Without a soul, Qinglong's body, which relied on mechanical procedures, struggled out. It seems you can't keep the whole body, the snow god said in a hoarse voice. Then stretched out his right fist. The black robe figure disappeared instantly. The next moment a fist with white light and cold air appeared in front of the dragon's head, and a real punch hit Qinglong's upper jaw. Moment. The entire Qinglong is wrapped in thicker ice. Then there was a dazzling light. The power of ice, the shock wave, the punch of the power of thunder. Bang. Delayed by 1 second. The blue dragon and the cut meteorite are all wrapped in white shock waves. Kaido's body in the form of a blue dragon shattered every inch. Together with the meteorite, disappeared together. There was only a meal of crushed white fog in the air, and a slight flash of blue thunder and lightning. The snow god blasted Kaido's body with a punch, disappeared in place, and stood at his original position in midair again, as if nothing happened. And all this takes only 5 or 6 seconds. How can it be? The old man in the bald kimono got up from the ground with a fierce look. His eyes saw the scene of the snow god blasting Kaido's body with a punch. Too late to recall Conqueror's terror suppression. The bottom of my heart was shocked. This is not a cat or a dog. This is the blue dragon form flesh body of Ponga Baker break through the strength of the flesh body again. Shui Shen punched it and it was gone. The gods face to face, do you dare to distract yourself? The feast of Luo Feng's faint smile sounded from 5 elders' ears. A fluttering kick to the white kimono. The old man in the kimono with the knife looked in horror, and the power displayed by the gods was not a joke. This seemingly light kick hit half of life and death. Time seemed to slow down, and the kimono elder tried his best to lift the long knife in his hand, trying to block it. In an instant, the old man in the white kimono did his best and lifted the long sword as fast as he could, blocking him by his side. With a light kick, Luo Feng kicked the knife with golden light, and the blade was pressed against the chest of the old man in kimono. A wave of ripples rippled, and the old man vomited blood out of his throat. The next moment Luo Fang's ability to carry on his feet exploded. Shockwave in the form of a big Buddha. Boom! The old man in kimono flew out, and the shockwave kicked out a big ditch along the way. What? The four elders behind him were shocked. The speed of the god Luo Fang is like an instant movement. There was no reaction, and he kicked people into the air while speaking. Luo Fang turned around and looked at the other four elders. His eyes were cold. From the beginning of the execution to the present, Luo Fang has not shown much speed. He has always been hardwired directly or attacked with bare hands. Shoot! The old man with blonde hair and beard squeezed his fist, his body exploded, Hawkeye covered him, and punched him. The other three followed the attack at the same time. 5 Elders deserves to be the representative of the highest power of the world government. It has such a terrifying strength. Revolutionary Army Sabo, eyes throbbing at conquerors bursting out of 5 Elders and armament Hawkeye entangled in mobile hands. Many people, except for the oldest qualified Kong, almost no one knows the power of 5 Elders. This is their confidence to challenge the Celestial God. The Celestial God defeated and killed 4 emperors, 7 warlords of the sea, and all marines all the way, thinking that the Celestial God would consume too much, and wanted to take advantage of the mobile hand. But that is a god after all. Monkey D. Dragon smiled, and the gods would sanction them all. Very strong. Luo Fang nodded secretly in the face of the 4 attackers. This 5 elders hides so deeply. Each one is stronger than Kong. Luo Fang moved his fingers slightly, and a transparent barrier appeared in front of him. Bang! The 4 fists hit the barrier at the same time. Marineford, which was already shattered, became more turbulent, with cracks deepening and spreading. The air blows, dust is flying around, and rubble is scattered. Go to hell. The old man in kimono carried bloodline in his mouth, his head was broken and he held knives in both hands, and the black blade struck Luo Fang's neck. If you turn around and dodge, you will be attacked by the fists of the 4 old men in front. If you don't hide, you will be hit in the neck with a knife. The old man in the kimono looked fierce and full of confidence in his swordsmanship. Even Luo Fang, the god of heaven, would get hurt by a single blow. Luo Fang didn't turn his head back, still slashed diagonally by this violent knife. Ding! A deep crack was cut under Luo Fang's feet. The blade stopped a few inches on Luo Fang's neck. Forgot to tell you that the armed color is my strongest Hawkeye. At the same time Luo Fang spoke, he made a light kick. The sound of space shattering. This kick is no longer a shock wave, but a shock fruit ability. The old man in kimono spit out blood again. Did not fly out, as if hung on a crack. Until he fell to the ground. At this time, the other 4 old men actually broke the barrier of the barrier fruit. Even Luo Fang couldn't help being a little surprised. Although there is no Hawkeye ability attached, it is just the most common barrier. But it is not easy to break. God, your barrier can't stop us. The old man with a long white beard shouted arrogantly. The 4 rushed over. Luo Fang, who heard the clamor in his voice, disappeared instantly. The figure appeared in front of the 4 people, and one of them kicked out silently. 5 elders, take out all your strengths. Luo Fang stretched out his right hand and held the execution knife in front of him. I wanted to see the strength of 5 elders. These 5 have been in high positions for a long time, and they dare to retain their strength in the face of the gods. Luo Fang said to himself that was not too impatient. It's fine to execute it directly. The 5 elders stood up in embarrassment. There was a bout of pain in my body. When the gods kicked casually, they had already suffered internal injuries. The old man in kimono suffered from blood wounds all over his body. He received Luo Fang's shock fruit's foot in front of him, and he was able to stand tremblingly. Luo Fang also glanced at the old man in kimono. This old body is probably strengthened by scientific research. The remaining 4 should be similar. Just like the awakened zone fruit ability, extremely strong recovery. Luo Fang knows very well how much damage he can cause with just a single kick. I'm very curious, what kind of research you have done after getting Kaido's body in the past few years. Luo Fang's execution knife flashed with the breath of death, but he asked casually on his face. Luo Fang, the god of heaven, it's okay to tell you. The old man in kimono smiled triumphantly. The Kaido's physical abilities that he brought back have not completely disappeared. Vegapunk used the blood factor technology to retain the devil fruit abilities. There is also Kaido's innate monster physique, which has been researched out to awaken zones strengthening techniques. Also copied the Kaido life form, with the artificial blue dragon form devil fruit. 5 elders said in a low voice, not minding, and even showed what Luo Feng knew. Let the gods be jealous. Kaido replica. Vegapunk will be obedient to carry out this kind of experiment. Luo Feng was startled and said, we already got the life design drawing from Vegapunk back then. Luo Feng suddenly, it turned out to be like this, the invention of Vegapunk, secretly manufactured by celestial dragons. World government, celestial dragons. Luo Feng's killing intent began to spread, and the number of productions increased, and the world government would begin to clean up those unstable factors and strengthen the prestige and rule that fell, and then more crimes would occur. God, the meaning of telling you is obvious, we don't know if you know Lord Yim. You. 5 elders wanted to continue talking. Luo Feng directly carried the execution knife, and cut it at the old man in kimono. Lion fruit, flame, lightning, shock fruit, rusty fruit. The combination of 5 abilities, with Hawkeye's strike. The execution knife fell, and the surrounding rocks all floated up, turning into powder and dissipating. The invisible sword light instantly arrived in front of the kimono old man. Hide, avoid, avoid. When the old man in kimono hacked Luo Feng with a torture knife, he desperately resisted the oppressive feeling of the sword lock. A red mist came out of his body. Hawkeye covered his whole body and moved with all his strength. Puff! The knife slashed across the left shoulder of the kimono old man, his arm was chopped off, and no blood spurted out from the fracture. Instead, it was corroded like rust, and burned black smoke appeared. The old man in kimono screamed and rolled out to cover his wound. The knife light cut the past vertically, slashing a large gap in the place, straight into the ice surface, and fall into the depths. Click! That piece of ice was all broken into slag, and seawater emerged. Luo Feng's face was expressionless, but the killing intent filled the surroundings. You will die. The 5 elders were shocked. Luo Feng's killing intent at this time is too terrifying. The coldness constantly eroded the courage of 5 elders. The old man in kimono clutched his wound and got up, with a look of horror on his face. Almost cut in half. The 5 elders glanced at each other, Hawkeye flowing all over. A red mist rose in the air. Red Earl's skill consumes vitality and uses blood to enhance combat effectiveness. This is a powerful physical skill that can only be used at the highest level. 5 elders' body has been strengthened, and its amazing resilience is enough to support consumption. Bang! Almost instantly, 5 people attacked. Under the red mist, like 5 Shira. The ground was attacked by 5 elders, and a large area instantly sank and was completely shattered. Finally looks a little bit. Luo Feng's arm turned golden, his left hand slapped the 4 attacking fists with one palm, and the execution knife with his right hand slashed against the long sword of the old man in kimono. The old man in kimono ran into the execution knife across the air. Hawkeye exploded, and instantly the whole person flew up and fell into the sea. The shock wave ball in the left hand enveloped the other 4 elders. Boom! The 4 elders confronted the shock wave. The ground shattered into nothingness, and the stones turned into lava. The 4 figures snorted, turned out by the power of the shock wave. He was in scorched smoke, his clothes were in tatters, and he was embarrassed. Luo Feng tilted his head slightly. 5 elders really fights. The flame power carried in the shock wave did not scorch the 4 of them instantly. 5 elders hadn't come and took a breath. At this time, the explosive force caused by Luo Feng's left and right hand strikes dissipated. The wind is blowing. Luo Feng disappeared in the same place instantly. The 4 of them were shocked, and observation Hawkeye was fully unfolded, looking around in horror. Success. The kimono old man just jumped back on the ice. The execution knife in Luo Feng's hand has already arrived in front of the kimono old man. Do not. The kimono old man is terrified. 5 elders under 1 person, over 10,000 people, one of the 5 most powerful people in the world, can't even escape. Let out a cry of fear. The execution knife seemed to cut through the space, dragging a stream of air past the neck of the old man in kimono. The ability of the rusty fruit instantly caused the kimono elder to corrode from the wound and turn it into a powder. Click. The place crossed. Space is shattered. The sea surface was split again, setting off huge waves, deep into the bottom of the sea. Then the sea closed and stirred. Luo Feng took this knife a little more seriously, and didn't split the ocean with a single knife just now. He didn't know when he could close it. The other 4 people were stunned. The old man in kimono died like this. God, he is a real god. The old man with Whitebeard muttered to himself, the horror in his eyes became clearer and clearer. An old friend who has been with him for many years is enough to be comparable to the famous and powerful man in the sea, and he can't dodge a sword under the hands of the gods. What power consumption! What opportunity! Luo Feng, the god of heaven, is completely free from fatigue and powerlessness. God, kill them only by thinking or not. You have been in high positions for a long time, and have forgotten that you have to be in awe of the true God. Luo Feng said lightly. 5 elders, who has been in charge of the world government for many years, have sins that are many times higher than a celestial dragon's. Luo Feng disappeared in the same place in an instant, and appeared in front of the old man with the golden beard. The torture knife in his hand turned the flames and thunder current, and went to the old man with the golden beard. Before the blade arrived, the scorching breath caused the old man's beard to begin to curl up. Don't froze. The old man with long straight white hair shouted. Only then did the old man with the golden beard react from Luo Feng's momentum. Lower your body and turn your head sideways. Trying to hide. Luo Feng slashed away with a torture knife at a normal speed, his eyes revealing the meaning of killing. This guy can't escape. The other 3 elders yelled loudly in their ears. With 3 legs braved in the red mist, they kicked a few inches in front of Luo Feng and stopped. Not moving. The island shattered and collapsed like a scream. Starting from Luo Feng's feet, every inch was broken. The towering Horse Naval Headquarters fortress location was destroyed. The sea was surging and flooded. Luo Feng ignored the 3 who came with a full blow. The sturdy fruit, armament Hawkeye, has almost reached the limit of physical strength, and with these 3 people, it can't be shaken. Grasping the old man with the golden beard with one hand, he didn't let him sink on the ground. The execution knife in one hand still slashed with the scorching thunder fire. I can stop it, I can. The old man with the golden beard screamed grimly. The blood mist on the body contracted, all hitting the arm, trying to open the hand of Luo Feng, but after no effect, he raised his arm desperately. The execution knife passed from left to right and past the old man with the golden beard. Luo Feng threw it away. The old man with the golden beard was instantly enveloped in the air by the blue-gold thunder fire. There was a roar of thunder. Strong resilience. Zone's ability to awaken shoulder to shoulder. When the thunder and fire circle dissipated, only a wisp of black smoke disappeared in the wind. Less than a minute, 5 elders were executed. 2 people. Those who were watching from a distance were shocked. Especially the people from Marine. 5 elders, the boss of the immediate boss of Naval Headquarters. The World Alliance Kingdom, the highest authority in the world government, is also the 5 strongest people in the world government. In the blink of an eye, they were killed by the god Luo Feng. The old people of Kong, Garp, Zephyr, Sengoku, and Crane's staff have extremely complicated expressions. After today, will the world government still exist? Backquote. Escape. Flee back. Find Lord Yim. The remaining 3 of 5 elders did not care about the death of their sad old friends and the shock of Luo Feng's invincibility. The chill of death in my heart completely filled my heart. Luo Feng, the god of heaven, had no mercy to kill them, and Mariajoy looked like a crime to be judged in his eyes. This is Lord Yim's greatest enemy. The 3 elders used their full power, stepped on the air, and the blood mist spread out. Instantly disappeared, well, in place. Luo Feng shook his head lightly, controlling the enormous power for a long time, forgetting how to fear God first, and only now did he flee in a panic. The torture knife in his hand pointed at the curly-haired old man. Destroyed. The execution knife waved. The invincible conqueror's Hawkeye glows with the armed color, glowing with white and blue light. After crossing the spatial distance, he instantly cut through the body of the curly-haired old man. The curly-haired old man rushing into the air in the direction of Red Line has a cool factory on his back. The figure stopped moving forward, his eyes revealed gloomy, unwilling to turn his head and glanced at Luo Feng. At this time, annihilation slash broke out. Bang, boom. The loud sound, the blue beam of light where the sword light passes, straight to the sky. Everyone couldn't help covering their eyes. Wait for the impact light to disappear. The curly-haired old man has disappeared without a trace. The remaining two old men ran away and didn't even dare to return. The black-robed Vulcan's figure moved and was about to intercept. Luo Feng waved his hand. Never mind, send a letter to Mariajoy, and find it one by one when the time comes. The black-robed Vulcan stopped his figure. Luo Feng moved his hand and the execution knife retracted the system space. Turned his head and looked around. Marine, Whitebeard pirates, Red Hair pirates, Revolutionary Army, armored soldiers. 7 warlords of the C2 people, Straw Hat crew people. The ships were frozen on the ice not far away, and everyone looked at Luo Feng with dull expressions. Hopefully, when I wake up, these are all dreams. When the battlefield was quiet, the Marine soldiers looked at the scene before them, still in disbelief. Marineford, no more. The huge naval headquarters island, leaving only the broken land a little behind the town. A piece of rubble and tiles. The rest of the place was almost broken, the sinking was submerged by seawater, and broken ice was floating on it. Outside the original harbor, there was a huge abyss with invisible ends and no seawater could sink, reaching the bottom of the sea. Marshal Sengoku and others lost their spirits. Justice, the justice that we insist on, is collapsing at this moment. 5 elders, 3 beheaded. Where will the world government go from now on? There is also the sentence said by the god Luo Feng. Celestial dragons, 5 elders, can't run away. Who is I'm? Everyone at Marine's top level was confused. The pirates and the Revolutionary Army swallowed their throats. This battle shocked the world too much. The BIGMOM coalition army, to the siege of everyone, the 4 emperors, all the naval headquarters, the world government, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Whitebeard, 5 elders, all defeated under the hands of the god Luo Feng. With an invincible posture, no one can survive the second move except 5 elders resisting one move. How invincible and powerful this is. The god of the celestial pirates, Luo Feng. The god Luo Feng stood quietly on the wasteland. 5 avatars shrouded in black robes fell from the sky and stood around the gods. No one has fought the god Luo Feng anymore. Everyone watched quietly. Next, what will Tenjin do? Luo Feng frowned a little. After 5 elders escaped, Luo Feng, who had planned to stop temporarily, planned to find a place to slowly check the execution reward. And the system prompts, but my mind keeps ringing. Important warning, important warning. What's wrong, system? Luo Feng asked in his mind puzzled. The execution system has never been as abnormal as it is now. Important warning, this world is about to be invaded by criminals in a different space. Host, please kill the criminals in other worlds. Another world. Luo Feng's expression is weird, and he also came from another world. What's going on, system? The plane is in chaos, and some extremely evil people are drawn by this system. Host keeps up and kills the criminals who invade the alien world to get more rewards. Co-authoring is the system and you are doing things. Luo Feng touched his chin. Where would the strangers come from? At this stage, the host has been upgraded to reach the upper limit of the system. In the next stage, the system permissions will be activated and will be upgraded in 3 minutes. The upgrade time will be 2 hours. During the period, no rewards can be obtained, and the capacity can be improved, and the system space can be used as usual. Quote. The mechanical voice of the system continued. Luo Feng was taken aback, reached the upper limit and opened the next stage. The current strength is invincible, and it can continue to grow stronger after the system is upgraded. The strength of the evil people on other planes will exceed host's imagination, please be prepared. It seems to know that Luo Feng's idea is general. After the system said this sentence, the upgrade officially began. Luo Feng checks the rewards in his mind. In terms of physical strength, Hawkeye no longer has a percentage and numerical display, appearing dim. In the system space, Luo Feng saw a full of devil fruit. This would not be suitable for using fruit, Luo Feng retired. When the system is upgraded, and 5 elders will be executed. It will be too much trouble to overthrow the world government. Luo Feng touched his chin and looked at the Revolutionary Army and Marine. With a trick, the stones condense into a seat. Luo Feng walked up and sat lazily on the seat, floating on the ground. 5 figures in black robes quietly followed behind. Go in the direction of Marine. The gods are here. Tens of thousands of Marines have different looks, some of them are extremely reverent, and believe that Luo Feng, the god of heaven, is the true god. Some looked terrified, afraid that the gods would come to sanction them. Kong, Garp, Sengoku, Zephyr and the 3 admiral who woke up from injury, the alternate admiral all stood up. Don't be nervous, Marshal Sengoku, I'm not here to kill you all, the sins on you are not dead. Luo Feng sat on the stone chair, stopped in front of them, and said softly. The Marine soldier behind did not dare to breathe loudly, and fell silent. Luo Feng, Rear Admiral. No, God, you have won this war, and the world government 5 elders have also died 3. The world may fall into even greater chaos. Sengoku's eyes were throbbing, facing the world government, Marine, whose combat power was greatly reduced. Even if the gods were not interested in ruling, there were pirates, revolutionary army, etc. Luo Feng shook his head, sat up straight, looked at everyone in front of Marine, and said, with me, there will be no confusion. The expressions of the crowd were stunned. Indeed, who dares to suppress it by the gods? Marine, although affiliated to the world government, upholds the principle of absolute justice. But you are also catching vicious pirates, criminals, and maintaining peace and order in the world. There is no conflict with me, do you understand? Luo Feng said, standing up and making a move. His rear admiral coat fell on his hand and pointed to the word justice. Everyone at Marine's eyes widened, feeling inexplicable in their hearts. Staring blankly at Luo Feng's finger, justice. Marine, who upholds the 2 words of justice, should not be that cruel, sinful, and self-proclaimed celestial dragon's puppet of God. Luo Feng's words caused a cold sweat on the Marines' heads. The rule of celestial dragons has long been entrenched in the hearts of everyone at Marine. Tenjin means Marine is independent, Kong said solemnly. As soon as this remark came out, the pirates, the revolutionary army and everyone in the audience were in an uproar. Luo Feng smiled, and then said meaningfully, the world, more than this sin, you can ally with the gods, you can also join the gods. The crowd was stunned. Luo Feng, the god of heaven, is recruiting people. I was shocked. Marshal Marine Sengoku and others, the red-haired Shanks and Ben Beckman all smelled something different. Revolutionary Army Dragon and Sabo's eyes throbbed even more. Luo Feng sat back in the chair and sat paralyzed. Floating on the wasteland. Everyone can think about it. I'm waiting for you here. Luo Feng said softly. The sound reached everyone in the audience. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.